triple kill, but Son of Finn, he'll deny the plant. He sees two more kills. Oh my god! Son of Finn will find more!
Where's Miracle? He's trying to come upstairs, but Crafty will get the ace. He'll get the plant. He'll do it all.
Device, misses shots. He's gonna have to go for the front.
Oh,
He pushes
Dylan!
on through. Dylan is better.
Round two, and there's another as Tyrant is finished off, and they all line up for phone.
All right, everybody, welcome to day number 2 of Storm Competitive Series Season 5. I am Lynx, joined with Seedaps, and we still got, plenty of teams to go through today. We only got through 2 games yesterday, 4 teams total, 2 in each group. So, Connor, what games we got today? Let's just get right to it.
Today, we've got another heater. Yesterday, we had Gatekeepers vs. Aerial Arise, which everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is the best game ever. But, I chose this game for a reason. It was a very good game. But this one, I have high hopes, definitely. Honor versus PDHM, 2 teams that competed in Tier 2 in Canadian Challenger League. So definitely should not disappoint, even though there's a little bit of roster changes here and there. Followed shortly after by our reigning champions, Down to Earth, taking on formerly known as T3 Savants, now Team No Plants. So that'll also be a really great game right after this one.
Yeah, and that one's getting casted by Keglanek and Blue Panda, probably around 8:30, but it's, of course, depends on when this game ends. Who knows? For all we know, this game could go infinite OT both maps. Normally, I would not hope against that, but honestly, it's early on in the season. I'm feeling good. And with how good both these teams are, how good they can be, I'd be fine if this game goes a fair distance. But as you said, both teams coming from Canadian Challenger League, but they've had their fair share of roster changes on both sides. PDHM, not at all the same roster we saw. Now you have the likes of Exo, Raffi, Subarctic, who are names to be sure, but not ones you would normally associate with PDHM. Then on the side of Honor as well, you have Arrow, getting picked up from Bracket Blast, and then you have Oreo being picked up from Windstorm. Crow even said that I would mess those 2 up, and I was like, no, I won't. But I did. I did mess them up. But either way, roster moves on both sides. So this will be kind of a testing ground to see how they might face up come CL with these roster changes.
But now as you pay attention to what's on your screen, what's a little bit more important, this is the roadmap for Season 5. This is a nice, beautiful graphic whipped up from the mind of Ferme to really make it easy to follow exactly what's happening. Our group stage is 5 weeks. It's a round robin with the groups, and if you look, we're on day 2 of week 1 because yesterday was day 1. We'll have a couple more play days for here, and then we'll go in towards playoffs if you manage to make enough points during the round robin period. You got 2 groups, 6 teams each. Each team plays every team in their group, and then there's the whole fun scoring system with decisive wins, decisive losses. That's if you win or lose with no overtime necessary. Then if you make it to overtime, we don't want to completely say your time was worthless. It's like hockey rules if you're familiar with real life sports. I know that might be a stretch for some people, but that's how hockey works. If you lose in overtime, it counts as less of a loss because you were pretty much almost there. It's like a consolation point. We do the same here at SCS.
Yeah, and this is a best of 2 with infinite overtime, or thankfully on Ferme's graphic as well, if you want to practice your timetables, BO1 times 2. If you feel like exercising some of that mental math, so that's what we'll be playing. If you want to take a look at the standings, how many teams have played those best of 2s? Well, only 4 teams in total, ranging about, 2 games as of yesterday. Was Gatekeepers versus Aerial Arise in Group A. Gatekeepers coming on top of that 2-0, but Aerial Arise managed to bring at least one of those maps to overtime. That was Villa, which unfortunately did not go in their favor. Now Gatekeepers, they're in the lead with 5 points. Then in Group B, Aggro had a similar story. They were brought to overtime by Synthetic, but they ended up winning 7-9 on Kafe. Then they got to Villa, and it pretty much wasn't even all that close from there. It was a 7-0 strongly in their favor, and they're an even more dominant lead for Group B than Gatekeepers are in Group A. But then again, those are only 2 games that haven't played. We still have today and tomorrow for games to see how Week 1 standings will end up panning out. And honestly, with Honor PDHM being the first game, I imagine this is still going, or is probably going to shape up into being a bit closer of a week than the standings, certainly the standings say right now.
Yeah, especially because, like you said, the games that we're starting off with are so incredibly competitive. Like Honor versus PDHM, just look at the names on those rosters right in front of you. Arrow, Pock, Wolfseas, Oreo, and Surf. I almost did the same mess up with you with Arrow and
Dude,
Oreo.
it's hard. It's hard.
It is very difficult, but every single one of those players are known. They have been around the block, and on the side of PDHM, Raffi, Subarctic, Exo, WAV, Prompted. Those are names that you definitely don't want to see show up on the other side of your ranked lobby because they're gonna take your elo and you're not gonna feel very good after that game is concluded.
Yeah, Exo famously reenacted Washington's crossing of the Delaware in a ranked game against Spoit stack queuing on NA East servers, so that ranked point definitely is something you want to keep in mind. And in a comp lobby as well, it's going to be difficult to go up to them. But if you want to talk about, what maps we're actually playing, because the teams, what they're comprised of, what their roles are, that's all well and good. But where are we actually going to be playing today? Well, the answer is Kafe, and then, oh no, the bands are the bands not correct?
Yeah.
It's Coastline Kafe. I think they're
Oh,
okay. They aren't correct. I had a heart attack for a second. I was like, no, did I mess something up? No, it will be Coastline Kafe. We're just getting those fixed right now. And as for the predictions, you can see more so towards the side of PDHM with a fair bit of ties thrown in. More people thinking that there will be ties than people thinking Honor will win it out. But Connor, what do you think? Well, I mean, I know what you think. It says you want
directly
PDHM
below
to win,
myself. I'm thinking PDHM, Exo and Rafi, they're a dynamic duo that have been around the block together quite a few times on a couple of pretty successful teams. I think overall, looking at how PDHM was performing through the closed qualifiers, they were just getting stronger and stronger as they were learning how to play with each other. Both of these teams are essentially using SCS as a way to meld their rosters and really feel comfortable going in towards their CL preparations. So they're definitely not going to be trolling. They're going to be trying. This is a very serious test run for these rosters, and having a first match against each other is definitely shaping up to be really good. There's a high potential for a tie. Jays, Wills, and Keg both are thinking that Honor are going to take it. Pretty much everybody else into the side of PDHM except the community poll. There are some other implications with winners and losers of this game, but we're going to save that for the interview. We'll talk about the more fun stuff later. And map bans, Coastline. We get to see Coastline first. That's definitely going to be fun.
Dude, the first game I had to cast in SCS Season 5, if I had to cast Oregon and Kafe, I think I would have just resigned.
Oregon Club.
Like, it just ended. Club, honestly, Club would be fine. It's mainly just Oregon and Kafe. I don't want to cast the combination of maps anymore. But we'll be starting out with Coastline, and if you want to go through the bans, Theme Park and Consulate were the first ones banned out. Coincidentally enough, starting out with the map that is allegedly going to be removed from the map pool, and then the map that should be removed from the map pool. Both the ones being banned first off, then Oregon, then Villa, being Honor PDHM, then Clubhouse, and PDHM wanting to go to Coastline. So definitely going to be not nearly as structured. And hey, if we want to start off what we've been hyping up as what should be a really good series, just with some nice, chaotic, juicy fun, Coastline's going to be a great place to start off on that. And then going to Kafe as well. I mean, not as structured to say a map like Villa, but it should still have some exciting moments and a bit more thoughtful than Coastline will be, Coastline's, it's meant for fun, not exactly meant for the biggest of brains.
Yeah, for me, Kafe, out of the unholy trinity of Kafe, Club, Villa, Kafe has the most potential to, as I like to say, devolve to just running around and just crazy. I'm trying to avoid certain words here and just the description of the play, but lots of spawn peaks, lots of jump outs, lots of not necessarily the most structured play, can rear its ugly head on Kafe, more so than a lot of the other maps in the competitive pool. So we could just see an absolute aim fest out of this series if that's the way the cookie crumbles, but hopefully we get a little bit of hectic and craziness on Coastline. Then as we go to Kafe, the teams, their brains are warmed up and they're gonna let their brains, that muscle flex as opposed to their flicking arm and just letting their raw mechanical skill show. That's my dream. That's my hope. But it might not happen. It might. Who knows? I'm not a clairvoyant by any stretch of the imagination.
Unfortunately,
but a man can dream, right?
This would be a lot easier if you were clairvoyant. But so you and I both predicted PDHM. That's obviously not with the map bans or anything really in mind. Just going off the just the matchups that we have in theory. But now with the map bans, do you want to stay PDHM? Or are you thinking about maybe it's a tie, or maybe it even goes to Honor? Well, as I say that, we're getting into the game, so I guess, you could talk a bit more about it, but we'll figure out who's going to win or tie potentially in PDHM versus Honor right now. But Connor, what do you think? You still sticking by your guns?
Yeah, I'm still sticking by my guns, especially because PDHM had the confidence to go to Coastline. That's a map that you're only going to take your opponents to if you're comfortable in your raw mechanical skill over them. And then you also have Kafe, which, like I mentioned, can devolve to a lot more aim heavy than the other quote unquote structured traditional maps. And that's a Dokkaebi ban first. Yeah, Carter, I'll take Ops I didn't expect to be banned for 500.
Didn't anticipate that one. I mean, it's not entirely unreasonable. I mean, Keg is certainly cheering right now. Keg, one of the members or men who are casting next.
No, he's punching the air
loves
right now.
Dokkaebi.
He loves Dokkaebi.
That's true. I mean, I think he might just be happy she's getting some recognition. So, I mean, Dokkaebi in the hands of a coordinated team can be a problem if you're on the roam clear. Nomad being taken out next meant to facilitate that roam as well. Often banned on maps like Coastal Consulate. That's much more expected. Same with Valkyrie. Pretty much a permaban on those two maps, but even on some other maps like Villa as well. So aside from the Dokkaebi, which again is just kind of an off-the-wall operator that isn't as often picked, certainly not enough to warrant a ban in a lot of people's minds, the rest makes sense so far.
Yeah, I would be more comfortable looking at a Lion ban as opposed to a Dokkaebi ban because, you know, Lion is one of the operators that's sort of really stereotypically only brought on Coastline, but Dokkaebi does fall in a similar vein of it's a roam clear assistance, but that also does leave the Jackal up, who definitely has a stronger arsenal of weapons that for a roam clear on a map such as Coastline, where pretty much everybody is going to be roaming all over the place, is definitely helpful. But since there is the Nomad ban, that's why Zero, Mr. Sam Fisher, the cool suave man, will be being brought into the lineup, and that aforementioned Lion being brought by Arrow will make their roam clear pretty simple, make it pretty linear to a point of drone heavy, put your flank cams with Zero, just click a button and all of a sudden a base drop goes and it will lock pretty much everybody except EXO into place.
Yeah, at least for the attacking lineup on the side of Honor, shaping up to be fairly aggressive. And Pox 6 picked out that Ashe for the Yana, and well, Ashe is synonymous with aggressive play. When you think of that operator, that's exactly the kind of image that comes up. You know, Merc going prone into kitchen on this very same map. Ashe is known for that style of play, but Yana as well can facilitate that level of play. Sure, you do have to, if you want to use your gadget, you have to worry a bit more about droning as you send in that Yana clone after and try and maybe build an entry off of that. But with those frag grenades, she can be a very solid entry in her own right. In the hand of Pox, I think a lot of work could be done with that. But you also have Wolfseas on the Buck, and for the side of Hookah, probably the site with the most potential for soft destruction below the bomb site itself. So I'm interested to see how Honor takes this. They have a lot of options. They could go in aggressive, or if they want to use Wolfseas on that Buck, they could certainly take their time with it as well.
Yeah, interesting that there's already a spawn peeking smoke. Raffi's trying to take some kids down.
It is what it is.
Yeah, he's trying to take them on vacation, beach style, but it's EXO inside a main lobby. He's feeling a little bit more pressure as Mozzie stops a little bit of intel gathering and will do some of his own. But with the way that Honor is setting up their attacks, they're going to be going for a really wide horizontal take, as evident, and the first frag going into the hands of Surf is the Zofia dropping off the Maestro. Actually, a huge pick coming from the Hookah window. That's one of your anchors who, with the Maestro cam, those evil eyes, those bubbles, can be very impactful towards the latter half of the rounds with the potential to have information or just outright plant denial. Not a good look so far for PDHM's defense.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, especially in the first minute now, but 30, 45 seconds of the round when Prompted got taken down. And now they've had that, Honor just able to go on with the rest of their roam clear. They'd be doing this if the Maestro was still alive, but at this point, it's just icing on the cake. Now Raffi's shield has been taken down. He'll have to retreat back, and playing behind Pink Bar without the help of that Maestro and with the pressure you're on right now is going to be that much more tenuous. Another factor that Honor are going to have to consider is whether or not they want to nail down Exo and Wav as well, who is also on the roam, both playing inside of main lobby. They have a zero cam or somebody watching, who is in the case of Arrow. They could likely get picked off pretty easy. It's just whether or not PDHM want to make use of that aggression now or keep waiting to try and make a moment later on in the round. Well, it's now. Yeah,
it's definitely now in EXO. It's just it's a whole flurry of kills now. It's a 1v5 subarctic against the world. The Lion scan's going out. He is not in a fun position. He's being swung by so many people, but Oreo will be the first one to get down, and he makes his clean escape. But not for long, as Surf will finish him off. Honor, on the back of a very strong roam clear, take this round with relative ease.
Yeah, the moment Prompted got taken down, there was still a fair bit of hope for PDHM in that round. It's not like they were basing the entire setup around the Maestro. They had both Wav and Exo on the roam, and that could still bring things back if they managed to play their cards right. Unfortunately, don't exactly know where Exo peaked, but Wav decided to peek that main stairs, and he got taken down. Exo got picked off soon after, and even Connor mentioned 3 kills basically in the span of 2 seconds. Whatever their strategy was, it completely failed pretty much entirely at the same time. At that point, with Subarctic in a 1v5, and the position he was in being on top of Cool Vibes, not all that much you can do, unfortunately. He got 1 kill, which is cool. Now we're the only person on his team with a kill. But if PDHM are going back to hookah, which they are, they're going to have to rethink their strategy. They're moving Exo to the Pulse, not on the Vigil anymore. So that might change things up a bit, but the question is, where do they play him? And whether or not they're going to be able to be more coordinated on the roam than they were last time.
Hey, Carter, you know how this is a very important game?
Oh yeah, it's the first game.
Yeah, so
CL.
first game, there's
CL,
also
fairly
a
important.
couple of, there's a little bit of extra stakes going on in this game.
Oh,
Right
yeah!
here, we have the Crow's Gambit.
Oh, it's...
The extra stakes of this game.
This is what you meant by the graphic.
Yes. So, with this beautiful graphic, if Honor win the series, Arrow chooses Exo's profile picture on Twitter for an entire week. And if PDHM wins, that's the vice versa. That's the other side of the coin. Exo chooses Arrow's profile picture for a week. But now you're wondering, what happens if they tie? And that's where our main man, Harrison, it's a man named Crow. This is why it's his gambit. If there's a draw, he chooses both.
Dude, it's the low-res attacking icon for me.
Yep.
That was my favorite part. Well, now you know the extra bit of stakes. Unfortunately, Subarctic appears to be crumbling under the pressure, at least so far this round. First pick going in the favor of Arrow, holding down these main doorway. Spots 1, he takes down Exo with relative ease as well. 417, even going against the UMP at a long distance. You know, it's single shot, not the easiest weapon to use. It's a bit hard if Exo is just under immediate fire. Surf will make his way into Kitchen, gets a couple bullets put into his back by Raffi. And now PDHM are in a similar spot to where they were last time. They've managed to take out a member of Honor much earlier than they were before. They're not in a 1v5, but prompted on low HP. Raffi now dead, thanks to a triple from Honor, as that being his 3rd kill. They're slowly looking like they're going to retake the exact same man advantage, or man count, that they lost the previous round. Prompted can basically be taken down by any bullet on the side of the defense. You could even throw a grenade from Pox and it have the white indicator, or not even be an indicator on a screen, and Prompted might still die from how low of health he is. It's all on Wav to try to make a play in the little bit of offside pressure he still has, and maybe he can make it on Aquarium, but either way, it's still not looking great for the defense.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking great. He's going to have to make his final stand here, and it seems like the Honor attackers definitely have an inkling that he's somewhere near. It's actually going to be an unlucky whip out of a flashbang, caught with his pants down as Arrow will fall into the DBNO state. But now Wav is just stuck between a rock and a hard place. He is stuck on top of the couch, taking so much damage from up, down, below, right, left, everywhere. And Honor, once again, another dominant round as Prompted will finally be felled. On the latter half, just a nice shoulder shot because he didn't have to be hit by anything. He could have been sneezed on, and that went down. And Honor 2-0, looking strong on their coastline attacks, which we are contractually obligated to say that coastline's an attacker-sided map, especially in competitive play. But the way that Honor are taking rounds is a little bit alarming for PDHM.
Yeah, especially when PDHM have been focusing so much on their roam pressure. And the first round, you had them try to go for some kind of flank or a challenge of the flank watch. At about 2 minutes, minute 45 left, they were quickly dealt with. That go around, they didn't even have the chance to really go for a flank all that much. They were playing inside of Kitchen, Wav on the Jaeger, Exo on the Pulse, and Subarctic on the Mozzie, all trying to hold down that particular area, and they were all dealt with by Arrow, just sitting outside main door with a 417. And then the 3rd one got killed just by him walking in the bathroom and killing the next one. So basing so much on your roam, how swiftly it's been dealt with by Honor would be disconcerting for PDHM. It's disconcerting for me as well watching it. They'll opt not to go to Hook anymore, switching to Kitchen, and it looks like they might be playing a bit closer to home. I mean, Exo bringing out the Capkin, Subarctic on the Wamai. Still have Wav on the Jaeger, that much is true, but not nearly the same kind of lineup that we've been seeing so far from PDHM. Maybe that's a good adaptation.
Yeah, considering you have 3 players on your roster in the form of Wav, Prompted, and Exo, dropping donuts so far, which, you know, only 2 rounds in isn't the worst thing in the world. They're just on a little bit of a slow start. They're trying to get their feet underneath them, get their SCS shakes out. But with Honor just going immediately and looking so strong and still looking cool, calm, and collected, the 3 wonderful C's, it's a little bit not the best. But Okay, I was gonna say that having the man advantage isn't too bad, but Surf will immediately stamp that out with a refrag of his own, dropping off the smoke of Prompted, who has now been on a hard anchoring late round operator, the first pick in 2 of the 3 rounds so far.
Yeah, that's not exactly the best precedent to have going forward for PDHM. First on the Maestro, now on the Smoke, who's arguably more important than Maestro, if not the most important operator in any given defensive lineup. Exo still trying to correct for that damage. He's on the Capcan, roaming upstairs, will find the head of Arrow, who so far has been a burden for PDHM, both him and Surf, so severing at least part of that duo will be a breath of fresh air for the defense, especially because the roam is working out much better than it was before. Exo is firmly holding on to control of Hookah, something they couldn't do when they actually were controlling the bomb site, and if he manages to work his way around the pressure being brought up by Wolfseas and now Surf, moving up Cool Vibes, this might be PDHM's first round if they don't manage to screw it up.
Yeah, all the pieces are coming together quite nicely. You know, you have the vertical pressure, your roam clear didn't completely, or the honors roam clear didn't completely obliterate you, but as soon as I say that, every time I do, now Wolfseas is going to get on the board and able to fall down Raffi. The lonesome Malusi was just kind of running around and fragging out just a little bit, but since there's only a minute left on the clock at a 3v3, it's not out of reach for PDHM. Coastline's one of those maps that you really do need a man advantage going in towards your execute, and it's a luxury that you always want to have, especially because there's quite a few traps being employed by the PDHM defense. When time starts getting really awkward and you're forced to funnel in through doorways, that's where the Capcan that Exo is bringing will start to shine. Maybe get a little bit of damage over towards these players, soften them up, and make it easier for somebody like Wab or Subarctic to get a couple frags.
At least going in the final 30 seconds, it is a standstill in terms of the angles being held by the defense and the attacking team respectively. Of Wolfseas now moving up top to try and get some vertical play. Surf playing behind the side. And last we saw Oreo, he was up on the roof. Hopefully he's moved back down. Yes, he has. But the teammate he was joining, Surf, fell soon after. Exo has been on the heater so far this round. Thanks to Wav as well. He lands the headshot on the Wolfies. He's gone pretty much unnoticed on that roll of the Jaeger. Now, Oreo has come off the roof, tried to make his way into the site, and he'll walk his way from the roof into an early grave, or I suppose a late grave, considering he was the last one alive. Excellent job by Wav and Exo on the roam, and overall by PDHM for holding down the bomb site in the latter 45 seconds and getting that first defensive round on Coastline.
It seems like maybe just the change of scenery is what PDHM needed to get the little wake-up slaps and get rid of the little bit of nerves that they might have had. They're finally on the board with their first round in SCS Season 5, so now they have the hurdle, and now everything can be on the up and up. If the scoreline holds and we see the stereotypical 4-2 split for the attackers, it's not the end of the world. That's what you would expect. That's the expected result of a half of Coastline, because cough, cough, it is attacker-sided, so 4-2, 3-3. Anything other than that would be a little bit more surprising. And with that being said, PDHM looking a lot stronger as time has gone on. They're starting to feel out exactly how Honor are going to be playing. Heavy roam clear. So that means that PDHM defenders need to get back just a little bit earlier. Just try to really employ the high line defensive roam strategy where you're just in the face of the attackers really quickly, then you peel back away. Because with the way that Honor's going for so much map control, you're gonna have to worry about every single rat corner, every nook and cranny of the map, because there might be a roamer hiding, and that's still gonna waste away time, even if as a roamer you're not physically in those locations anymore.
5 seconds to go.
In terms of locations on a site like Blue Bar and Sunrise, we can probably expect some upstairs control from the attacking teams. You usually see on Coastline some semblance of vertical play, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we see PDHM continue to focus that horizontal play. You know, both Exo and Wav in that second round playing inside of main lobby, trying to hold down over there. It's both where they're currently stationed. Wav will almost get punished on a spawn peek from Oreo, but thankfully he only takes 25 HP in damage. He can rotate back over to the main lobby, and here's that horizontal pressure, or that horizontal map denial, is going to be what they're focusing on for their defensive strategy. Another key aspect they're going to want to shore up is ensuring that Prompted stays alive for a fair bit of time. Died 2 of the rounds now, and it's probably been important. Sure, they ended up winning last round, but losing your smoke makes it that much harder going into the final seconds if your roam doesn't end up working out. So far, They managed to keep Prompted in a safe spot, keep him alive for an extended period of time, but then also continue on the roaming success they brought out last round. PDHM, I think, could start not only winning this round, but stringing rounds together after this.
Yeah, I would say that smoke is definitely most important on this site of Double Bar. Sure, kitchen, he can stop a service plant, and upstairs in Hookah, they can stop the default plant behind the bomb chassis of pushing in through Aqua. But out of all the bomb sites that you want, the tertiary bomb site, Double Bar, Prompted needs to stay alive, or else things are gonna start getting hairy, and they're not gonna be fun for a PDHM defender, especially towards the latter half. Now, the one Nitro Cell being expelled on the top of Cool Vibe Stairs, Surface feeling a little bit of pressure mounting as the first E1D charge will rain out, locking all of the PDHM defenders in place for just a little while longer. Arrow's still just kind of running around. They're trying to apply so much vertical pressure over towards both Blue Bar and Sunrise that it makes PDHM players just feel very uncomfortable and not safe, as well as just watching the flank is going to be Arrow getting a free kill delivered on a silver platter from Exo.
That's exactly what Honor has to be doing at this point. You've managed to take the map control, sure, at a bit of delayed time, but just watch your flanks, watch your angles, and you should be able to win this out. They've done that successfully twice now. First with Arrow onto Exo, and now Wolfie's onto Raffrey. The third as well with Pox on the entry, and now him getting the plant down. This looks like it's all coming up Honor. Arrow tacks on for a second one, and a familiar spot. Wav in a 1v5. He downs Wolfsies. Gets one for the scoreboard. We can all be happy about that, but it's a similar line to the very first round. It'll go the exact same way. One kill for PDHM and an exit frag for what will inevitably be an Honor win.
Really good game sense and reading ability from Pox to understand that he probably has to jump out considering the time constraints of the post-plant position that he found himself in. And once again, a very just clinical execute coming out of Honor, who seemed just so much more organized and so much more gung-ho with their takes. Pretty much every single time Honor is going for an execute, they have all the information in the world. Their drone work has been so clean, it's just absolutely lethal. There is not a single position that any PDHM defender has been in that is not completely understood by the Honor attack. They have a perfect mental image of every single thing PDHM is throwing at them, just imprinted upon their brains, and they're just relying on their instincts to say, hey, they're holding X, Y, and Z. We're going to push X, Y, and Z, get your pre-fires, have the advantageous gunfights because attacker weapons are typically superior in the different kind of combat situations that Honor are finding themselves in. And PDHM is just struggling to adapt.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Last time they tried to adapt to a bomb site, it was the second time they defended Hookah, and unfortunately for them, it didn't go very well. And you can't go back to Kitchen just yet, you can't go back to Kitchen just yet because you won it. There was 2 rounds before you can go back, have not elapsed. Then on top of that, you don't really want to go back to Hookah because of how many times you've won it. So you're left to adapt to Blue Bar and Sunrise. What they'll do is they'll bring Subarctic on the Malusi, was on the Wamai last time, and now they're putting Waffy. I almost did the pet name. Crow says. Dang it, I hate everything.
Well, it's because there's Wav and Waffy and Raffy and Wolfsies and Arrow and Oreo.
And Oreo.
And, man.
And then don't even get me started how in my head sometimes I'll be like Splash instead of Surf. I don't say it, but sometimes I'll be like, who's on Honor? It's Wolfsies, Arrow, Oreo, Splat, Surf, Pox. So
Yep.
a lot of tongue twisters in the lobby today, and unfortunately, I don't have a transition off that one. It's just I'm just incompetent with names sometimes. Wav is holding a bullet hole 40 seconds into the round, so I don't know. Try and find your way out of that one, that curiosity for why this is the angle he's trying to pick. There's only one over there, and I imagine, kind of like me, there's no way somebody's holding a bullet hole peak this late in the round, right? Doesn't matter. Surf will enter into office anyway, and based off how it's been going so far, it's appearing at least a little bit similar to how it was. Not a lot of opening picks till minute 20, minute 10 left in the round. But with the push inside of Kitchen, well, actually, Wolfsy's just taking that map control, and there you go. Happens on a different side of the map than I thought, but it's Raffy on main stairs to find Arrow, who so far has been the game changer for Honor. There we go.
Yeah, he's been the top frag, the entry on the flank watch in roam clear operators, so you can definitely say he's doing it every single way, and having him fall early is definitely going to be sorely missed on the side of Honor's attack. The E1D charges have been utilized to lethal effectiveness up to this point, but with the way that Honor's going for a more horizontal attack, it might not be as impactful. You know, Honors, they're already constricting around site. They're wrapping their tendrils slowly and trying to choke away any sense of security that PDHM currently has, as there's a little bit of vertical pressure. You know, you have to get Raffi out of these positions, or else he can just kind of deny plant. Subarctic on Cool Vibe Stairs is also in quite a powerful position, but as Raffi's going to be able to take out Pox, that's just a compounding man count advantage going into the favor of PDHM, even more so.
Honor have shown so much strength on clearing out the roam, and oddly enough, they've opted to not even contest it all that much so far this round. Raffi and Exo, well, mainly Raffi's, he's the one with a triple in this round, the only one with kills, and he's got 3 of them, has been allowed to run rampant all over the attacking team and their strategy, and now Honor are the ones strongly in the back foot. At least when they've been on the back foot, it's been fairly close and winnable, but now it's a 2v5, and not a lot of room to make an error, and not a lot of room to make a play. Raffi will continue his reign of terror on the top floor, and he'll continue with the ace. All 5 kills, or did he not get all 5 kills? There's no ace popping up on the screen.
No, he got the ace. It's
That's
because it was taken by the flawless round, but it was an ace indeed. Sad Raffi looking happy in a great fashion. Pretty much every one of those kills were incredibly impressive as he was being pressured. It's not like he shot everybody in the back. That was a series of 5 head-to-head gunfights that he was able to win, just taking minimal damage from each engagement and looking damn good while doing it.
Why did they, maybe it's in the settings turn off. Why did they take away the ace?
It's because I think there's like a hierarchy in flawless round because it's like a team thing. It's more important than like the, you know, the solo play.
I'm so used to it showing up that I didn't show up. I was like, wait, did Raffi not get an ace? I was like, crap, did I just mess that up? But no, he didn't. So, if you're Honor, I mean, 3-2 so far, you're not doing terrible by any metric. Going into the defense, you might have a bit of a tough time, you know, not clearing out the roam like you probably should have. That's all good. You could try and make that mistake this round, but that really was their biggest mistake so far. I mean, you know, the first round, shutting down WAV and Exo. Third round, again, shutting down WAV and Exo on the roam. And that go around, it was Exo and Raffi. And even before, where they managed to take that map control away from the defense, and once they got that control inside of Hookah and Billiards, managed to shut off any flanks from the defense. That go around, they couldn't even get to step 1. The map control was firmly in the hands of the defense, and Raffi, he was clearly feeling himself. Now, going into Kitchen, the other site, PDHM have won. They're probably feeling pretty good that they can end this at a 3-3 half.
Yeah, pretty much what has happened is PDHM slowly realizing that Honor, with all of the zero camps that they're placing, are making it essentially impossible to flank them. And they're just getting fed kills over and over again. But their roam clear, when they actually are physically taking gunfights head on, has been a little bit more of a struggle. And now as WAV's going to get the first frag of the round, that's the man count going firmly into the hands of the PDHM defenders once again. An omen that is not looking too hot for Honor. They've barely ever kind of overcame the man deficit, unless somebody like Arrow just kind of popped off on that one round. I believe round 3, the second Hookah exploration. He was just kind of able to walk in and kill everybody with the 417 and looked pretty good. But this is a completely different bomb site. This is the one bomb site that PDHM is flawless on. Sure, it's a small sample size. You only have one kind of experience with it as an attacker and a defender combination for both of the teams. So can Honor really adjust to what happened last time where they were not able to properly clear the roam and it was a 3v1 situation? Seems like they can answer back just a little bit more onto the head of WAV all the way downtown.
I was going to say that first Kitchen round, it was fairly close on both sides for Honor and PDHM. And what happened was one kill was got by one team, and then the other managed to refrag soon after. It was a 4v4. Now it was a bit delayed there, but still evening the main count means we're in a similar position to where we were last time. If Honor managed to take the momentum they've gained so far and continue with it on their roam clear map control, an inevitable carving up of the bomb site to try to get a plant down, I think there's still potential for the adjustments that are necessary. You even saw a Z-ping just now over on main stairs, where they know that one member of the defense is in that area looking to make a flank. That's another one of the strengths they've had so far, and at least at this point, Honor... things are looking up for them in terms of making this into their first attacking win on Kitchen. Pox follows up on a prompted. One of those players where if he gets taken out, that could be the round for PDHM just based off how impactful those operators are. Exo and Raffi will fail on a peek at main door. Raffi might try his luck a second time, but instead, it's Exo to take the majority of damage out of these two defenders, still remaining down here in the final 30 seconds. Wolfsies will continue to try to sever them out and cut out the infection that is stymieing his team's attack. You'll find Exo. So that's a 2v4. Now PDHM are on the back foot for their kitchen defense. A different position than previously. Raffi will take a gunfight, miss all of his shots, and it's only a matter of time before Pox gets in and down with the plant. He'll put it behind the reinforcement as Arrow stands with the coverage. Here's the rip of a C4, but it doesn't go far enough, and now Subarctic left to try and pick up the pieces just like he did in the very first round. He'll find one, but will it be an exit frag for an Honor win? Indeed it will.
Yeah, it feels like just the same story over and over again, and especially because of how hard retakes are on Coastline. Just, it's the same song, different tune. Kind of just 1v4 situation. You know that the defender's not going to come out on top. There's vertical pressure. There's just so many people in sight. Every single cross being held. And it's not fun. Subarctic was not in a fun position. So as that went down, expected result indeed. With the expected half split of 4-2 going into the favor of the attackers, which for Honor was their side. But now, can they do it on the flip? They're going to be swapping onto the more disadvantageous defender side, which... once again, is something you don't necessarily say that often in Siege, but with the way that Honor is playing, I don't necessarily know quite yet if Coastline is just being attacker-sided, or Honor are just more prepared for this map.
Your bombs from being defused by attackers.
In terms of preparation, they're, at least this strat in particular, appears to mirror one part of PDHM's. We saw one round, Exo decided to go on the Pulse, though that was for a hookah defense, and this is going to be for Kitchen. So I imagine what we see it played kind of like Kitchen on Villa, where Pox remains in the site and tries to get a C4 from below. Could be risky, not exactly a lot of spots for you to roam around freely inside, or really aid somebody on the roam. Either way, gonna be a useful bit of intel if they manage to work around Pox as well as he potentially could. Also extending up inside of Penthouse and Meter, not at all uncommon for Kitchen. With the Wamai and the Jaeger, and also the added shakiness of the Vigil, denying intel for the attacking team, or at least making it a bit more cumbersome for people to try and figure out where he is, or where other members of the defense could be. Not a bad setup for Honor so far.
Yeah, their roam seems to be a lot more structured than what we saw be employed by the PDHM defenders, but PDHM is looking a little bit more aggressive on their attacks. 20 seconds in, and they already have multiple people inside of the bomb site, as Fox is going to be able to take out Raffi, but that's a quick refrag coming out of the Zofia, who almost, pardon me, that is... I'm just so confused because there's a plant going down 40 seconds into the round. Prompted is already typing away on the diffuser, and it's a 4v3.
Yeah, nade will fly in as well, but Arrow has a lot bigger problems than a nade on the opposite side of a wall. Surf as well, he might need to go to a hospital, but he'll die too quickly for him to even call 911 or some bit of rescue from his team. Arrow and Wolfsies are trapped outside the bomb site, both on this southern side of the map, and now it's all left up to the Jaeger. 1v4, similar position to what we saw last round on Kitchen, with the shoes on the other foot this time. Now, from a great rush from PDHM, reading that Honor were too busy setting up the extension, they walked right into sight and took it before the defenders could even bat their eye.
Yeah, I wanted to start talking about the roam because it was so much more structured, and then I just kind of looked and there was 2 people inside a site, and then people were dying and they were planted. I was too busy looking at the leaves that I couldn't see the entire forest was on fire inside the bomb site, but really well played by PDHM to properly read into how kind of sluggish and lethargic Honor seemed on their setup, where maybe it was dry runs, maybe it's just a very hard to set up roam that takes a lot of time, that they just kind of had a quick shot call, liked what they saw on their drones during prep phase, and just full sent it.
We'll try Kitchen a second time. going off the logic that, okay, they rushed last time, they're probably not going to do it again. Let's just play a bit
They
close.
do it again, man.
I mean, honestly, if they do it again and get away with it, that's on honor at that point. Like, not only should you expect it, but like, if you made the same mistake a second time of focusing so much on the extension, you don't have enough people physically on the bomb site to defend
10
it,
seconds left before insertion.
that's kind of on you. Instead of a PDHM, they've traded out the... I believe they had a line last time. Might be correct in that? I don't... A lot of things were happening. They did have a line, right, Connor?
Attackers are
Yes,
moving to
they
defuse.
did.
I thought they did. Just wanted to check and make sure. Traded out the Lion for a Thatcher and kept with, you know, still, you know, we have the Yana as well who can be fairly aggressive, but not the same lineup that is conducive for a rush as they had previously. And, you know, even seeing a Thatcher on Coastline, usually synonymous with a bit slower take of the map and the various bomb sites. And it's 2:38. Nobody's died. Nobody's even really in the building on the side of the attack, save for Wab now making his entrance into Aquarium. I have a feeling this is going to be much more standard, and we can all breathe a sigh of relief. And Honor will most definitely be breathing a sigh of relief alongside us.
Wow, I can actually analyze a round. It's like it's my job.
Dude,
They just
it's
blocked
crazy.
me from
Like,
doing it last time. But now it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade as Surf and Wab both get the better of each other, leaving it kind of at a 4v4 situation. You know, you trade a Zofia for a Vigil. That's a trade that Honor are definitely going to feel like they got the better half of, considering all the utility that will now remain dormant inside the Lifeline launcher. That is quite literally lifeless on the floor. But more so than that, the hot conflict up on the top floor is very much so alive. Arrow's feeling a lot of pressure from all different ways, and Exo's gonna have him wrapped up with a bow and send him straight down the white staircase, relegated to cam duty for the remainder of this round. So far, the roam clear has netted 2 kills, a lot of utility, and now a lot of time with over half the round remaining for them to apply their vertical pressure and start setting up their execute.
bit unfortunate for Rafi right there. Just got an Ash Charge 8 by a Jaeger ADS that was just around the corner for him. Easily could have got, but when you're in the moment, sometimes you make oversights like that. With Honor, they can't make many more oversights in this round. They have a lot of the operators they desperately need. In fact, the final 3 you have remaining are the final 3 you really want in a situation like this. Pox on the Maestro can use those Evil Eyes or Impact Grenades if he so wants to, but probably not going to find more utility in those impacts than he will in those Evil Eyes if there is still one up. Oreo as well, live on the smoke. He's got those 3 canisters. 30 seconds of denial, the longer that PDHM opt to try and play these vertical angles. And with Wolfseas finally playing a bit more aggressively, but also as a C4, I say that Oreo was just in Sunrise as smoke. Sure, why not? But as long as all these tools remain in the arsenal of the defense, this is still very much winnable for their side. And the longer PDHM take up top, the more powerful those will be. And they've shown no real sign of they can execute so far. I don't know if they're going to be pushing from kitchen or service, but either way, their options have just opened up quite a bit more with the taking down of Oreo. Pox playing pretty aggressively on that service doorway. We'll get the refrag on the prompted, but now it appears the execute is coming from the opposite side of him over by kitchen. I say that actually the diffusers dropped outside on the other side of the map, but it doesn't really matter. The PDHM are just going for frags. They do that. Don't even have to get the diffuser down.
Yeah, I mean, don't really need a diffuser if you're just gonna kill everybody, and that's kind of the most fun part about Coastline, is that it's a frag heavy map where you don't necessarily need to play the objective as much, especially if you're feeling confident with your gun and you have somebody like Exo just running around murdering everybody with a G36C from a very beautiful lady that we know and love as Yana, acting as the entry frag with frags. So, and I guess he was getting frags too. He had frag grenades and a whole slew of kills to his name, as now, like we said earlier, with a shoe on the other foot, it's definitely not as comfortable for Honor. As this map, I will say now, definitely I can say it's looking more towards the attacker-sided facet, not necessarily the Honor-sided facet, where PDHM taking 2 straight on kitchen, 2 completely different ways, is maybe indicative of why they chose this map. Their attacks look really good. They're cool, calm, and collected. They're doing everything on their checklist pretty much to perfection. Their roam clear has looked sharp. They're getting frags. They're getting pressure on site, and they're just looking great.
For handling that site pressure the PDHM are bringing out, we'll see a Rooney being brought out. I actually don't know
I love a Rooney.
if a Rooney was brought in either of last night's games. Gonna be honest, I had an essay and
I think she
had
got
a test
brought
last
like
night.
twice. Tachanka was not brought a single time.
I
Rooney
knew
was brought a couple of
Tachanka
times.
was not brought. I knew that he hadn't been brought yet. I just didn't know if Rooney had. Either way, one of the first times we've seen a Rooney in SCS. Definitely not more. Probably I'd say like the 4th time. Who knows? Either way, it's the first time this game. Wolfsey's bringing her out. Likely
Carter,
to try and. What?
I didn't wanna interrupt you, but that peak is just giving me team identity flashbacks of just holding the same angle spawn peak every single
Dude,
round.
I physically squinted at that one. Like I'm trying to remember, and I like believe you, but I honestly just do not know. PDHM also don't appear to really know what's going on, as in about the span of 2 seconds, 3 of their members have all died. A 4th one on the floor, and WAV, much like Subarctic, is in a similar situation that he's felt quite a few times so far this matchup. He's alone in what is effectively a 1v5. I thought Arrow being put down to 1 HP based off a pre-fire through the barricade meant that there meant that there'd be a bit more momentum on the side of PDHM. Gonna be honest, that one got me. Raffy saying that messed me up a bit, threw me off my rhythm.
Yeah.
But anyway,
He just gave himself up. He doesn't care. And it's
I mean, yeah, he's
yeah.
you know. But just wait. There he goes. 1v5. WAV probably knows there's someone on cool vibes, but in a 1v5, you're pretty much guessing that there's somebody everywhere. You're not taking any position for granted or assuming it's clear. A hail of bullets will erupt right in front of him and towards his direction as he tries to make his ill-fated push up cool vibes. Won't find anything. He'll at least find the Maestro. 1 kill in his favor. And if we want to think he still has a chance, it's an impactful operator. Arrow's also been down because of a smoke grenade. That's a 2nd kill for him. And Surf shooting the P10 Roni right above his head. He now knows there's one still on the top of those stairs. So, I mean Connor, maybe it could happen.
Yeah, Zophia's an intel op. Because
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
run in and people shoot at you, you know people are shooting at you. And that's intel. And that's what he gathered so far. So he's going to be denying some intel on the default cam. He still has 50 seconds left, which this round is not over by any stretch of the imagination. It might look like it, but you know, I'm a firm believer in WAV. You know, anybody can do what he can as he's pre-firing away every single angle, but he's going to get lit up to about 25 HP for his ill-advised peak. And how structured and kind of just patient Honor are looking so far. They definitely do not want to throw this man advantage as WAV is having a bit of a rave. He's dancing. He's just peeking every single angle. He's inside of the bomb site, and now he is dead. Honor finally able to close it out, ending the reign of terror of WAV. Zofia running rampant through the entire map. Maybe a little bit too close for comfort, but you know, having 3 people up is still going to be a comfortable enough lead for Honor to take that round.
Following a similar pattern to the first half, Honor won their 2 attacks on Hookah, then PDHM won their first defense on Kitchen. Now, vice versa, PDHM won their 2 attacks on Kitchen, and Honor have won their first defense on Hookah. They will break with that pattern by just a little bit. Instead of switching to blue, they'll try out Kitchen a 2nd time. Figured enough time has passed that surely they can make some adjustments, and it should be able to work out. They'll also stick Pox back on the pole, so continuing with that line of thinking that they brought out in the couple rounds that we've seen the bomb sites so far. But with how strongly it's been in PDHM's favor, not just off the back of a rush, but also when it came to actually playing, you know, the bomb site, not just sprinting in, using the intel you gained at the beginning of the round and hoping some of that is still staying, you know, playing much more slowly, working away in the site, acquiring map control. PDHM still won dominantly based off of that fashion. So at this point with Honor, I'm interested to see how they make those micro adjustments in terms of their actual play, how they utilize Pox. Are they going to use him to aid that roam up top, stick him inside the bomb site, or will they try and send him on a roam with somebody else? Speaking of the roam, how's Arrow and Surf going to factor into it? They were the first 2 opening picks last time, and in the grand scheme of things, didn't do a lot. They wasted some time, but not enough where it really made much of a difference for PDHM on their attack. So a lot of places Honor could work around, but unfortunately, it's going to require a lot of effort to make the adjustments, at least right now, necessary, unless PDHM have some mistakes they're going to make.
Yeah, right now PDHM hasn't thrown the same look towards Kitchen twice, which now the way that they're lining up this attack seems to be very, very centric upon quick pressure inside of service. Are they setting up for a rush? Are they in? Are
yes.
they in?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're in. Oreo found that out the hard way, as now rotations are going to be cut. An attempted nitro cell skeet shot out of the air by the cute hands of Sad Raffi. But Surf is going to go ahead and knock off Wav and X02 kills for the price of 1 so far as the smoke goes down. But Wolfsy's in the DB&O state is not doing too hot. This is essentially a 3v3, but with Plant going down into the side of PDHM's attack, it's still going to be an advantageous fight so far. It's essentially now a 2v3 because now Raffi will take out Arrow, but the main man Subarctic has escaped to the outside as Raffi's going to keep on going for more. A triple kill in his favor, but Pox will answer back. An attempted run out will actually catch the 2 players as the triple kill will rain through. No players remaining for PDHM's rush. Pox on the pulse. Name a more dynamic duo. As now Honor will take the round.
Oh, y'all asking a good question. Why do you guys rush every round?
That's a good question.
I'm just trying to set up, bro. Great question. Another great question. How did that almost work again?
Because Raffi killed everybody.
Well,
on the Jackal. Didn't use his Inox at all. You know, he just used the gun.
Raffi, yeah, that is true. Raffi did kill everyone. Likely a factor as to why they did that. But on the other side as well, is it because, you know, they're setting up so much? That might be a reason why they're rushing. Who knows? Topic for another time. Either way, that almost didn't work because of just purely the fact that, stuttered on the name for a sec, that Pox and who was on the Malusi? Was it Oreo? It's slipping my mind. I can't exactly remember.
I believe it was, I think it was Wolfsy's.
Either way, oh no, it was Wolfsy's, you're correct. It was Pox and Wolfsy's spraying through the wall in the default plant spots, actually managing to land enough shots to not only send the planter off the plant, but also take down and put down on the floor a few members on the side of PDHM. So, in terms of a retake, just kind of blind firing through the wall and using some of the holes they made to their advantage, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive so far to even get some pressure towards site so quickly. And unfortunately, we do have a little bit of a pause to some technical issues in the game. So you have to suffer through our faces, just cutting up some of the action, you know? More so suffering through mine as opposed to beautiful man to my side over there, Carter.
Dude, I'm wearing
NFL.
a flannel.
You are wearing a flannel.
Like,
I'm doing my best Crow impression with a plain black t-shirt.
See, okay, here, I was gonna just wear the t-shirt.
Yeah, we're
but
black and red. We're honor
Don't I
colors.
look kind of weird?
We're in honor colors.
Like, I look
Even though
small.
we both voted PDHM, but we're in honor colors together.
Okay, I want to be honest with you as I awkwardly put my flannel back on. I definitely think it's going to be a tie. I just forgot that ties were an option.
Yeah.
When Ferme asked for the predictions, like the new format had just been announced, so it was all like BO1 overtime, BO1 overtime, BO1 overtime. So I saw the team list. I was like, oh, BO1 overtime. I think PDHM win that.
The NAL.
Yeah.
And EUL format. Yeah, it's like, yeah,
but
it's just BO1 overtime, you know?
But it's not. It's best of 2.
Yeah,
that's different.
We're in T3.
Hey, BO2s are nice, okay?
Yeah, I do like BO2s. I like, you know, because it's not the full commitment that you have to give to a BO3 that can just be such a large chunk of time. And then they don't feel as special when you get into playoffs where it actually matters. That's when we expand up to BO3. So I am a fan of the format here, you know. SCS Season 5, doing it proud. Big shout outs to Ferme, even though he made us pause. And
hey, he's got his reasons.
Yeah,
okay?
he's got his reasons. You can look at that beautiful graphic in the bottom corner.
True.
Look at that. That is pretty. 6-4. It's over. It's over here. It's over here. Yeah. Over by right underneath the Twitter handle of Casting Links. Go follow him on Twitter. He posts bangers. He does Curb Your Own Enthusiasm memes.
I'm like Ben Carson whenever I try to point something on a cast. I'm like, it's like neurosurgeon level of specificity.
I always do it in reverse because our cameras are flipped.
Again,
they're mirrored.
So yeah, our cameras are mirrored, but for whatever reason, in my mind, I'm like, oh, if I move up, that means I move down. I don't know why I do that.
Yeah,
anyway,
I do the same thing.
Back to the game. So far, format is benefiting PDHM because if Honor win this 7-4 or 7-5, PDHM manages to pick up this next round. They still have a chance to win it out on that second map and garner themselves some points. And even then, if they want to garner themselves some points, they don't even have to wait until the next map. They manage to win the next 2 and go to overtime. They'll secure themselves at least 1 point just for making it. They pat themselves on the back for that one. But the question is whether or not they can actually do it. Honor have managed to win at least every bomb site once. They haven't won every bomb site each time, but they've won hookah, and they've won kitchen. Now, moving to blue bar, if they complete the site rotation, the perfect site rotation, they'll end this 7-4. But if PDHM manage to get their act together and maybe take that pause we just had to collect their thoughts and come up with an attacking strategy that doesn't revolve around exploiting Honor setting up late into the round, maybe we'll see something change.
Bullied.
And Oreo getting bullied. But then again, are Honor just going to set up late in the round? Doesn't appear that way. So probably won't see a rush, unfortunately.
Yeah, I definitely like the rush strats. They keep you on your toes. As
They do.
That one I didn't get as caught off guard on. You know, that's progress. But for PDHM side, if they don't win this map, it is a little bit worrying. And if I'm EXO, I'm starting to sweat bullets, quite literally, because this is PDHM's map choice after all. And you would expect them to be a little bit more comfortable on Coastline as opposed to Kafe, which will be our battlegrounds for the next map. But Prompted is still on a donut, as our observer whispers into our ears, and that's unfortunate. You know, the SAS ops, Prompted and Oreo are just not having too much fun, because that's just the life of support on Coastline.
Rafi's living the life on entry right now. One with the most kills so far. Made a quick one in the mudroom. Had to back off because of that shield, and honestly, probably the smart decision. I imagine Oreo probably would have ripped him to shreds on that one. Exo is also playing a bit of an entry role up top, droning into Aqua and Billiards, and Prompted gets his first kill, as Ocho happily puts it. He got one. He finally got one, and the opening pick, nonetheless, for PDHM. What an important first frag indeed.
Yeah, definitely a good frag, but now it's going
And
to be
he's
traded
dead.
back. Yep. And now it's just trade central. But at the end of the day, PDHM is looking a little bit better off. Rafi's still knocking on the door of the bomb site, and your biggest obstacle of getting site control, being Oreo on the smoke, has now been removed. As with all of the anchors. Now Malusi is rotating back into site, so they have someone in close enough proximity to challenge said execute that is looming ahead. But as Wolfseas falls to a frag grenade, it's now a 2v5 situation, with Pox and Surf against the world.
Unfortunately, those straights are made even a little bit more dire by the lack of C4 on both of the remaining two defensive operators. Pox has his heartbeat scanner, so while he can't use a secondary utility in conjunction with that, it's still a bit of intel he could try to gather on any potential planter. The bullets being sprayed downrange by both Rafi, Subarctic, and likely the rest of the attackers on PDHM in the next 10-15 seconds are not going to make life easier. Surf will take the first bit of damage in the final engagements, put down to 75 HP, but standing up on the bar could still make a play. No, Rafi spots it. Just as I mention it, he's looking right over towards Pox as well. It's Subarctic to take his head clean off. PDHM will win and deny Honor the perfect cycle. Now the question is, can they just win this next round in a row and send us to overtime, or are they just delaying the inevitable, being an Honor map victory?
Honor is still in the driver's seat of this, considering that their defenses, especially their defense on Hookah, was so incredibly dominant. If you recall correctly, that was the WAV 1v5 situation where you just kind of got two kills that ended up being completely impactless. You know, that's kind of the only way to talk about those frags. And it was the maestro of Pox just running around pre-firing everything because he had 81 bullets in the Alda and just killed everything. As it was kind of at its core PDHM, it was almost like a hookah rush that just didn't work. That gambit was punished and is very ill-advised to do again. If I can give any advice to PDHM, it's to please don't rush Hookah door again. Please. That's all I ask. I'm begging. I'm on my knees. I'm groveling. Don't rush Hookah door. Please.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
I'm on the opposite. Do it. Might as well.
I just imagine you in, like, with your hood on and just do it.
I mean, might as well at that point. I mean, what? We've done it. What, we rushed 3 times? Or twice? No. Twice. 3 times?
Yeah, because you had the successful rush on the first kitchen, you had the failed rush on kitchen, and then you had the failed rush on Hookah.
Oh! I want to be honest, that rush was so quickly repelled by Honor, I forgot
Exactly,
that was a
like,
rush.
it feels like it was a rush, but they didn't even get into the building because Alda go bird.
I'm reloading.
I really did forget about that. Yeah, it was a 2v5 in like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah,
So
with
yeah.
somebody down. It was a 1v5 at like 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, poor Raffi. Well, Exo, thanks to his Yana clone, has found one of the members of Honor pretty quickly. Surf Undaunted will find the head of WAV. Concussion doesn't phase this one. And there you go, the opening pick in the favor of Honor, starting things off good for what could potentially be the final round for Coastline before we move on to Kafe. Raffi has at least found some semblance of control in the round for his team. PDHM found the way inside the building. Now Surf is also taken 25, or put down to 25 HP. Might have to rotate back considering how quickly PDHM are taking map control, but he can at least take solace in the fact that he's done his job for his team so far and got the opening pick on one of PDHM's better players.
Yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction considering how strong WAV has been. He's only eclipsed by a Raffi in the frag department who, on the Ash, you know, you would expect that over your Zofia, but it's actually going to be Subarctic to take out the Aruni
A bomb has been located.
with a cheeky little anti-vertical angle. Typically, you would expect the player sitting above to win that gunfight, but you know, when you're Subarctic, your sheer will and determination will sometimes net you a frag. He now goes positive, no longer 6-6. Now 7-6. But with half the round gone, it's an even count 4-4. With a little bit of vertical pressure being applied from down under with a sledgehammer. Not something you expect to say, but when you can jump on top of the bar, you can sometimes get the cheeky hammer angle indeed, as Arrow keeps on peaking cool vibes, making sure that all the players down below are not feeling comfortable pushing up this highly trafficked area. And he actually catches him with a nade in his hand as Arrow's going to pick up an absolute freebie onto the sledge. No more nades, no more hammer. And now, no more Surf hailing from Honor as Exo's going to answer back and make sure it stays at an even 3-3 man count.
Yeah, with Arrow, that's exactly how you read one right there. When Subarctic threw that first nade and it got caught, he knew that second one was incoming, took the time that Subarctic was cooking it, swung. Great play by Arrow. Risky, very risky depending on how long he actually had that nade out, or if he even had a second nade, perhaps he could have had his gun up, but it managed to work out. With Exo's pick, it's a 3v3, and Honor aren't looking nearly as good. Pox is on 25 HP, and you have a lot of those impactful operators, but with how low Pox is, if he tries to peek out even a little bit, that could be the momentum PDHM need to try to make this work. The last Toxic Bay from Oreo has gone out, will delay just 10 more seconds of time, probably going away right now at the 14-second mark. Now the question is whether or not PDHM can get the requisite kills. Raffi will spray pretty quickly, not find the defense. It's Pox to find one, find two, and Oreo finds the final one after that. Looked like PDHM could gain some last-minute momentum, but it's Honor to quickly wipe away the three remaining members on the attacking team and take PDHM's map pick right out from underneath them.
Now Exo has to realize that at the worst, or he is guaranteed to change his Twitter profile picture now. Because it's either a tie or a loss. He can no longer win. So F in chat for Exo's Twitter profile picture. But W's in chat for Honor as they take PDHM's map choice of Coastline right from their cold dying hands at a close scoreline of 7-5. That was a very, very fun map.
Yeah, a lot of it was PDHM playing incredibly aggressively on their attacking half. It paying off sometimes, but there's a reason why rushes don't, work as often on subsequent uses. And that hook attack especially goes to show why that's the case. Basing so much of your attacking strategy around that, and sure, while it is Coastline, the logic still prevails even though it's more in your favor. Continuously trying that in 50% of your rounds was not a recipe for success, and it makes me worried for PDHM's attacks overall. Maybe they were just cocky on Coastline, it was their map pick, they thought they could make something like that work. But going into Kafe, they're really going to have to make sure that they don't play with that same flippant aggression that is frankly not valid for the situation. You can also see players like Arrow sitting at that main doorway, taking advantage of the lack of foresight from the defense playing aggressively in their favor. The flank watch as well. Arrow again getting that kill onto Exo. One of the other strong points of Honor's attack, and in terms of both the play on the attack and the defense, I think they made a pretty compelling argument for why they deserve to win that out and not just, PDHM throwing. Well, there's still a little bit of that.
Raffi ace.
Raffi ace. That was a good play.
That was a very... And there's just WAV getting sent off the face of the earth. Here's another impactless frag round. That was one of our 5 times it was a 4v1 post plan for either team. But at the end of the day, Honor was just the better team overall. They were more consistent on... Here's the failed rush that we forgot about because it was failed rush.
I forgot about it. In all
You know,
fairness,
We're
You
just
remember
we're
it.
just going down memory lane. There's Pox getting a double kill. I'm
That
clairvoyant
was
now.
sad.
That
That made,
was.
I felt actual emotion after that play. Well,
Coastline definitely did not disappoint. It had its ups and downs, and it was definitely a fun one to cast indeed. Even though I was caught off guard a couple of times, Coastline's just not my strong suit for maps casting wise, because analysis just goes straight out the door, and it's a little bit hard, and you got to be a little bit more on your toes, which hopefully Kafe will be a little bit more up our alley. But with the way PDHM seem to want to play, just they're doing their best Dr. Disrespect impression. They just all they care about is violence, speed, and momentum. They're just running in Shift W, taking gunfights in the most confident way possible. Don't necessarily want to say they're like not droning or playing structured, because every single one of their entries are following drones. They have a pretty good idea of how the game is played, because they're a CL caliber team and everybody on their roster is incredibly strong. But it seemed like they were just going in a little bit too hot-headed for the way Honor was playing, a lot more structured. And the stats will kind of be indicative of that.
if you want to take a look right now, Pox on top, 1.47 for his team in that map. So clearly doing his best job. Oreo on the opposite side, not having the best go of things, but his team still won it out. So just try and pick up the pace for next map. And on the side of PDHM, you had Rafi, obviously with that ace, picking things up in the rating department. Not the best cost overall, but we all know what I'm going to talk about next. Prompted 1 and 10 on Smoke.
And Thatcher.
And honestly, that's it. Like, yeah, Thatcher, but like Smoke, Maestro, some of the most important operators. And with how often the roam was failing on the side of PDHM, especially in those early rounds, him either not being a factor or not being a factor because of time or placement, but then in other areas not being a factor because he was in fact the opening pick. He was just not playing his position as well as he could have that map. And going into map 2 on Kafe, while it's not PDHM's map pick, that is going to be one of the main places they need to pick it up. Prompted has got to get his game figured out and start stepping up, or his team's just going to face a 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing was Arrow on the line on attacking was getting like all the entries. I'm pretty sure all 3 of his entry picks were on attack, which was absolutely huge considering being on the line with the 417. You wouldn't expect him to be taking the gunfights, except maybe on the flank, which was being supplemented perfectly by Oreo zero cams. He was just getting delivered freebies over and over again. But just like I said earlier, Honor just looked like a more structured team, and they were able to take structure to Coastline, which might not be a good omen for PDHM, as Kafe is just more structured Coastline.
Well, omens, structure, a lot of things that we're going to have to see come true or see how they plan out going into the next map of Kafe. But it is the next map, and we're going to be taking a couple-minute break just to get things all, figured out, take a rest a bit, give the teams a rest before we manage to get into things. I'm still Lynx with Connor. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss map 2 of PDHM versus Honor. All right, everybody, welcome back to map 2 of Honor versus PDHM. I told you we'd be quick. We're just about to get into things. Just, still going to take a minute or two to get ourselves and everything in order. I want to take a look at the map bands real quick, see how we got here. If you did miss map 1, first of all, what are you doing, man?
It's
Not
over
showing
there.
up on time. I expect better from you. Well, it was Coastline, PDHM's map pick. It went the way of Honor 7-5. Now, since this is a best of 2, this will be the final map played. No chance of any map 3 like in a best of 3. And it's up to PDHM to decide whether or not they could try and come back on Honor's map pick to even this 1-1 and get themselves about even points, or if it's just going to be an easy 2-0 for Honor, as I'm sure they're hoping it will be. Connor, you and I both picked PDHM. Obviously, we're both kind of regretting our decision right now a bit. You think it's a tie, or you think it's going Honor? What do you think?
Just the way that Pox was playing for Honor, it's hard for me to not back that horse. I mean, he had a 1.5 rating essentially, and it's not like he was playing like Ash Yeager. He was mainly playing Yana and Pulse.
And I mean, he also wasn't even having like, the most explosive plays.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting, double, triple kills.
It was just like
getting
a kill every single round.
Exactly,
pretty
yeah.
much.
He was doing his job, got 1 or 2 kills every round, probably averaged out to about 1 kill every round. And at the end of the day, for Pox, the kind of roles he plays, that's what you need. If you're playing that Yana on attack, sure, on the one side, but playing those more support roles on the defense, kind of in the area of flex, not often in the face of the attacking team. It's what you hope for in a player like that. Now going on to PDHM, going to that hard support, I mentioned it at the beginning of the break, and I won't harp on him too much, but prompted on that hard support, gonna have to pick up the pace and try and fix things going into map 2, and that's the play on PDHM. They really does have to step it up, and we'll just see if he can. Getting started right now. R's in chat. It's Honor versus PDHM on Kafe. Will PDHM win? Will Honor win? Will we have interesting bans? Who knows?
Find
Could
out
be
in
anything.
5 seconds on this episode of SCS
Find out in
Season 5.
approximately 2 seconds. I want to be honest.
Nomad
Where did I put
Maverick
my
ban.
There it is.
I'm predicting another Nomad ban.
On Kafe?
Yeah.
Actually, okay.
Yeah, that could be
That's not-
fun.
It's not that odd.
That could be
I mean,
fun. Thatcher Nomad.
Well, it's Thatcher to start out.
Yeah. Give
Cool.
me Nomad, Valkyrie, and Goyo.
What?
That's the bands I'm
Why
going for.
Goyo?
I don't know. I was just feeling spicy. I'm
Alright,
going
no,
for
fair
the.
enough.
I went for a Gambit,
Well,
but it didn't work. Didn't
it
work.
didn't, because it's a Thatcher Mav ban. So, unlucky.
I was trying to manifest fun bands into the earth because we had Dokkaebi
you can't
on.
do that.
We had Dokkaebi last map.
I've been manifesting Coastline in a series since approximately October,
Hey,
and
it
I think I
happened.
got it like once or twice. Connor, you're right. It did happen 6 months after I wanted it to. So
You're on a
maybe it's
time
just-
delay.
maybe it's just a. What am I gonna play now? I don't know, EXO. Cade is banned. That makes sense. Thatcher and Mav bans. You want to get Cade off the board because he's that much stronger, and it's Kafe. So
He was
You're
so
banned in there.
happy to play Cade. He wanted to show Max that he's not the only Cade one trick in the world.
hey, EXO is not a Cade one trick. Okay, let's not disrespect him that much.
Yeah. No, but he's saying he wanted
might-
to play Cade. He wanted
He
to play
might,
Kaid.
he might wear that Alex Jones T-shirt, but he can play a few more operators than just Cade.
But we talked about one Moroccan, and we got another one coming out, as Arrow's not going to be on the hard breach. He's not going to be on the hard support. Instead, he'll be on flank watch. He's definitely going to feel a lot more comfortable on that role, considering playing hard support on Coastline is like a death sentence, and it's definitely not fun, as evident by Prompted as well as Oreo's performance. Being in those positions just typically disadvantageous, and you're just kind of getting bullied all the time. Both of them didn't have that hot, and I'm looking for them both to be bouncing back on Kafe, because Kafe is a map you can actually have structure, and therefore your supports can shine, because they might not be the flashiest players in the world, but when you can start really flexing that big old brain, you can find yourself in great spots and actually let your utility do the talking as opposed to your weapon, especially on a bomb site such as downstairs inside the double kitchen. Nitro cells, they do a lot of work here. Smoke canisters, they do a lot of work here. So that's both EXO and Prompted, the secondary utility of the SAS brothers in arms. Hopefully they're going to be looking quite good. SMG-11 and shotgun combination. They're doing a lot of reconstruction of the site, allowing lots of lines of sight to be opened up and really molding it to their benefit.
Must locate and defuse a bomb.
speaking in terms of utility, Valkyrie was banned out on Coastline, not banned out on Kafe. And you can see Raffi putting up a couple cams, one below New Valk, try and see if anybody flanking, or not necessarily flanking, but rotating, going for a play over in Reading Room of Mining, or actually, yeah, Reading Room Mining. Those are the two main areas, train as well. That's mainly, going to be his purpose, seeing where the attackers are rotating, where they're making their play, and hoping to counter it out before the ceiling above them starts getting ripped open. Pox will use some of his utility on the attacking side to open up that garage wall, get a peek in down towards VIP and the bottom of Brown Stairs, where there's a defender behind a deployable shield waiting for him. It's a fairly standard extension on Kitchen. Might have a couple players roaming, and then one person playing behind that deployable shield, and a couple more down on the bomb site. The question is whether PDHM on the roam have learned their mistakes. With Exo getting killed by a Claymore on a mute, before we've even reached 2 minutes left, like Exo said, absolutely no chance. But absolutely no chance that they're making these same mistakes on map number 2.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. It would have only been worse if it was a smoke running out with all 3 canisters, but Exo with a nitro cell, and now Raffi losing a nitro cell, where I harped on was probably the 2 biggest pieces of utility on the side of PDHM's defense, now gone in the blink of an eye, is not shaping up to be too hot for PDHM. Now it's a 3v5, and make that a 2v5. It's now prompted all 3 smoke canisters will remain dormant, as Surf is going to pick up another kill. Leave it all up to WAV and Subarctic in a 5v2. The entire world is caving upon them. All of the vertical pressure happening in quick succession for Honor makes it absolutely impossible to play the actual bomb site. That's the only piece of map control that really matters at this point, especially considering that Honor has all of it.
On the bright side, Subarctic wants to try to rotate back into sight, which, given his current position, is looking increasingly impossible. Or unlikely. He'll even make a play up red stairs. Here's the air jab and knows likely can't do that. Just take a drone out and feel content rotating back down. WAV will go for a run out. There is a Nomad on the drone right outside. Doesn't look like WAV knows, or he just might know, but he doesn't want to take the risk. Waiting for the Nomad to get off the drone and then try to take the gunfight there. Subarctic will try to take a gunfight through the floor, and he's got 81 bullets, and all the ones that matter don't end up hitting. WAV will find the Nomad eventually, but unfortunately, that and all the other engagements on the side of Honor go their way. It's a flawless first round to start things out, and not exactly the kind of thing you want to start out on if you're PDHM going into map number 2.
Yeah, a flawless round is definitely a statement on your own map, starting on the traditionally more disadvantageous side of attack for Kafe. Sure, Cafe's had a little bit of a facelift, and it's no longer the 5-1-4-2 defensive kind of split. Falls more so into like the 4-2, maybe 3-3 if the teams are really good at attacking it. So it's still not insanely easy to attack, and Kitchen is probably the hardest bomb site to attack out of the bunch. And starting off with a flawless round where you barely took any damage at all, with a team ace, everybody did their jobs. PDHM might be in for a little bit of a rude awakening, and Exo's already guaranteed to have a different Twitter profile picture because they lost a map. At the very best right now, he can kind of bring Arrow down with him. So that's what he's hoping for. You know, misery loves company, but for Arrow, he might just be laughing all the way to the bank.
Honor are certainly laughing right now, especially after some of the kills they got last time. I mean, Arrow getting a Claymore kill onto Exo. No work even had to be done there. He probably just pressed whatever his secondary utility key is, whatever he has that bound to. Put it down, walked away. Then you had Raffi flanking down White Stairs. Pox is just watching that because he's been watching that angle since the beginning of the round. That's an easy kill on flank watch for him. Overall, it was not exactly the hardest round that Honor have ever won. You even have some 5-1s. That can be difficult if the defenders manage to put up a fight, but a lot of those gunfights weren't even really gunfights. It was defenders walking into the sights of the attacking team and not really having much recourse into how their situation was going to go. Honor appear to be setting up a similar way this time. Pox, the only one on this south side, likely going to hold the same angle from White Garage, or bottom of White Stairs down towards bottom Brown. And I guess now all I'm wondering is, how is this going to look if PDHM try and play their positions a bit more conservatively? If Exo doesn't jump out, is he going to contest more red stairs, and will that prove to be a problem for the attacking team? Is WAV and Raffi going to be able to hold up top more, or will they just try to flank down and get caught out by Pox? Now that they know that he's likely going to play there, Hopefully that won't be the case. But either way, it's still going to take a fair bit to really try and decipher how this round is going to go.
Yeah, right now, EXO is not outside of the building, so it's looking a lot stronger defensively for PDHM so far. But as soon as I say that, Raffi goes out the window.
Excellent.
Wav will get the refrag onto Pox,
Excellent.
removing the hard breach of Honor's attack. But, you know, just can't help but feel kind of sad at that one, as I had such high hopes for PDHM. Then as soon as I said that, Raffi goes, "Oh, you want structure? Here's a Cloud9 Valk flying out of a window."
I mean, they got the refrag. Sure, you lost the C4 on Raffi, but taking down Pox on the ace, that could be pretty big.
You already did his job.
I mean, he already did his job. That's also the only hard breacher. Now a lot of what they're relegated to do
they can't open up the hatch.
Exactly. Well, that's the question. I don't think the hatch is open, as a lot of times on a kitchen defense, you'll have the hatch open to facilitate a roam. Check real quick, see if Wolfskies can give us the answer. It's reinforced, so they can no longer open that hatch. So I was going to say they're relegated to a freezer drop, which is really hard to do on the attacking team. There's quite a few defenders still alive, but they can't even do that because it's reinforced. So now they're solely forced to push down stairwells or try to make a play inside a bakery, which again is incredibly difficult if you have the wall still reinforced. So now all PDHM have to do are hold their angles. They know somebody's going to come bottom white, probably one or two people. They also can probably hedge a guess that one is going to be coming down brown. That'd be Arrow on the IQ. Surf will fire a couple shots over to red, but he takes a fair bit of damage either through the floor or from somebody flanking up. And you can tell just based off the movement of Honor, they don't quite know what to do. They're hoping they can work a pick, and so far it's not working. Two go in the favor of PDHM from the Jaeger and the Maestro respectively. Now Wolfskies and Surf, two of the more frag-focused operators, will manage to find two of their own. Not a third, unfortunately. Subarctic gets his second, and Wolfskies with the diffuser will have to vault in, and Wav's there with open arms and a 4-16 waiting to win the round for PDHM, and even at 1-1.
A lot better of a defense, even though I almost got PTSD. I was so close to just having flashbacks of just 30 seconds prior where everything fell apart in such quick succession for PDHM's defense. But then, looking back on it, getting the pick onto Pox was actually huge. Not only was it taking the ace off the board, but it was also taking Pox off the board, who has definitely been a feather in the cap of Honor so far, and is their standout player up to this point on both maps. So, sure, this map is, it just started, it's in its infancy, and who knows how the rest of it's going to play out, but that was a good step in the right direction and is really indicative of how PDHM wants to play. They're still going balls to the wall. They're still going to just try these aggressive plays and hope they pan out. And it's up to Honor each time to not get caught off guard, constantly keep their guard up and try to punish them.
If they're going to punish them on any bomb site, third floor is certainly the best opportunity to make that work. Not the best site for the defense, especially since the recent changes to Jaeger and no Wamai in play means that that's your sole focus of projectile denial. So that classic way of sticking somebody behind a deployable shield and pixel, a couple ADSs and magnets to hold that position for as long as you can, it's not as possible anymore. So you are focused on a playstyle that, so far, suits PDHM much more in terms of their preference, something much more fluid and aggressive for the defense to try and make it work. But now that you don't have that same safety, and PDHM are forced to play that, we've seen how hit or miss it can be. A lot of the times it can rely on luck. If one more player is with Pox, that trade could go the way of Honor, or at the very least could even out. Sure, you still have taken down the ace, and that's all well and good, but that's still a risky play that in the grand scheme of things might not have been the best move with the intel they had. Of course, maybe they had intel on Pox, knew he was alone. In that case, that's good. But what I'm trying to get to is PDHM's playstyle, it's been hit or miss, and a lot of it has been based off risks, and a lot of times those risks aren't well calculated, and they end up not paying off. And if they don't pay off, they usually end up losing the round.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the duality of man. It's swing or be swung, and sometimes when you're swinging too much, it doesn't matter. You can still lose the gunfight to those holding the angles, and that's typically been just walking right into the loving arms of angles being held by Honor weapons. But now PDHM they're doing a lot better. Nobody is dead a minute into the round, so not as aggressive as we've seen before. Honor still doing their full due diligence on their checklist. They're applying a lot of pressure downstairs inside of reading. They're doing a lot of window play with Pox, making sure that nobody decides to drink a Red Bull, grow wings, and fly straight out of a window, delivering him a quick death if he's caught off guard. But with the way everything's being set up, the way the air jabs are being applied, it looks like it's going to be a cocktail execute as soon as Honor can either pull away, prompted on the Maestro from behind the cocktail bars, or just senses an opening that's going to allow Wolfseas and Pox to just repel on in, get a post-plant position, and try to get anything they can.
Cocktail take can be difficult given the lineup that Honor have right now. Their only source of true vertical soft destruction from down below is Surf with his Ash charges. No Zofia impacts. More importantly, no Buck in his skeleton key. So a lot of what they're focused on is what they're doing right now. Having Surf work the holes that they already have, and then using projectiles outside and focusing so much on these repels to try and make it work. A C4 will fly out, one of the two on the side of the defense. It goes wide, doesn't find anything. And with Honor not having as much map control, having as much soft destruction as they could with a Buck, it might be a bit shaky. But they got the opening pick, a second as well, with a second Claymore kill onto Exo. Pox has the maneuver in the area he needs to get into the bomb site. Repel on in, plant going down. Subarctic will try to get some sort of save for PDHM in the round, but not enough to really sway Honor's opinion in them trying to get this plant down. WAV ran out, got a kill onto Wolfseas, and Pox lands the refrag. They know exactly where the Jaeger is. Even with the new run-out timer, that was long enough for them to realize that the Jaeger is at the bottom of White Stairs, and they certainly know that that is where he's coming up. WAV has to land a really lucky pre-fire on one of these members of Honor, but two of them are on low HP. The time is so low, and he's got to make a play quick, and we're giving it now. Even if he gets this kill on the Surf, which he won't for the moment, it's not going to go his way. He at least gets that one, but with us reaching that fated 9-second mark, the time has run out for him to get the plant. It's just him trying to pad his stats now, maybe save them, and save his KD.
Just
still land a headshot on Oreo.
Just
and that's
incredible.
It.
Incredible.
Incredible. Beautiful.
Incredible. That was pistol versus pistol. WAV did indeed get his frags. And Pox having the assistance of essentially a Caveira interrogation with a giant red box running around on top of the Jaeger's head. You know, Prompted does want to see the Moss files. I don't think he's going to get to. No, maybe he could. I don't know the full inner workings of the behind the scenes, but I don't think off of that play it's justified because, you know, being detected and everything. But a really good take from Honor. Really well-structured cocktail take where, once again, I'm going to harp on their checklist that they knew exactly what they needed to do. Cocktail takes on window repels are kind of a lost art form on Kafe. Most teams like to push from piano and push horizontally, not necessarily rely on the vertical pressure that you have to apply from down below, especially if you do not have a Buck in your lineup. But Honor definitely made it work, and the window play was insanely strong as well. You notice about halfway through the round, there was a whole lot of people stuck on pallets over towards the top of the White Stairs because they couldn't play the bomb site. They were scared to peek the windows that both Wolfsea and Fox were occupying, and that allowed them to just swing in and get the plant down.
We'll see some adjustments made by Honor. If they opt to go for a cocktail take before going that Buck, but they're bringing a Lion instead. Something we saw on Coastline, and we'll likely see a similar style of play brought out here if, you know, if Lion's stereotype ends up proving true. But with that, I don't know if we'll see a cocktail take be gone for again. I mean, you brought up a lot of good points, and also on top of that, a lot of it revolved around Pox's smoke, and hopefully PDHM can realize what's going on and they don't let it happen again. Raffy just killed Arrow.
Yep.
I don't really know what to say to that one. Just punishes Arrow for not watching the window, I suppose. That's your Zofia gone. If you want to go for a cocktail take, you're now kind of relegated to what you had last time. You can only go for those 3 Ash charges. Based off where everybody spawned, I don't think that was going to be a play. But either way, losing Arrow, who's been one of your high-impact fraggers in both Coastline, but also on this one, though 2 of his kills are from Claymores. Being in an early 4v5, losing your Zofia, one of the most powerful operators on the attack, not a good look. Not a good look at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's never fun to deal with being spawn peaked, especially because now that is the 3rd time Raffy has done something highly aggressive. and just the first time he's ever able to find a frag. And speaking of aggressive, that was an aggressive rotate coming from Wav, who just took a plethora of damage coming out of the top of the skylight, being held by, I don't know who, but somebody on Honor. And he's actually going to retreat all the way down to White Stairs and try to peek up towards the window. But it's actually going to be Raffi to take out Wolfsies with another jump out onto a repelling player as
I'm
Raffi's
sensing a theme.
Yeah, I'm sensing. I was about to say I'm sensing a theme for Raffi. He's, you know, he saw that he was the highlight picture on his team. You know, it was Beach Raffi in the Santa hat, and he just decided to go demon time.
I mean, Raffi has been one of the big reasons that they have probably won the previous round and likely won this run. He's dead, unfortunately. Wav is as well, but Subarctic will stop the bleeding for a second. Pox only on 1 HP. He has the diffuser and a Selma charge in his pocket, which is cool. But there's a shotgun right around the corner. It just blows his brains all over that reinforcement. PDHM pick up their second round, and if you want to just look at the common thread between this round win and their previous round win,
Raffi getting a kill.
yeah, it's Raffi on Vow getting a kill outside. One in the first round, taking out the ace. One in that second one, getting the opening pick, and a second one as well. Setting the momentum strongly against Honor within the first 30 seconds to a minute.
You know, I don't want to gloss over how funny that kill cam was, because
It was very funny.
he was staring at the hole, sees the giant lotus blossom on the side of the red silk skin M590, and then it goes away, and he looks at it, and he's just confused. Then he just dies. It was just, he gets chunked, just filled with buckshot. Absolutely wonderful wall bang, I guess, in the most loosest terms. It was like through a rotate hole, like clipping through the corner of a whatever. Honor, PDHM 2-2, and we aren't going to reading, which is a little bit interesting. I wanted to see the tertiary bomb site come out a little bit earlier, but boy, PDHM was able to adjust properly on their last time going towards kitchen, where, surprise, they weren't absolutely decimated like they were round one. Mainly came once again with the common theme that we've seen in the one rounds for PDHM, being the main man Raffi getting a kill. So he's going to be setting it up again with the wonderful information that you can just throw out with Vout cams and then prep windows and try to get a free kill onto Pox, who is now 5-2. He's the common denominator for Honor, that if he dies, they lose. So kill Pox, win round. Simple math.
Potentially. In terms of, you know, kill X player, win round, Arrow right now has eyes on Exo, and well,
Incredible.
okay. Huh. Interesting. So Arrow just killed his teammate. Thankfully, aside from that one, still the trades went in the favor of PDHM, so unfortunate that for the trades to even go closely in your favor, Arrow had to put a bullet in the back of Wolfsie's head, but hey, it's something. You've lost the sledge, which is your main source of vertical destruction on Kitchen, and their only source of soft destruction is now Surf with breaching charges. Not looking great, but Pox is still alive on the ace and those Selma charges, and having that hard breach remain in their possession is going to be one of the bigger factors going into this round. If Raffi manages to land this shot, his life might be cut short before he even realizes, but at the same time, Pox has a much longer angle with a...
Oh,
you know... Just give Raffi the MVP of the Year award. Just you know, just give it to him.
I just... That one stun locked me. But now, Raffi has been finally dealt with. His reign of terror ended in a very similar vein to most dictators, with the head cut clean off at the Surfs. You know, that's another pun for yeah. I don't know if that one...
How does Raffi only have 3 kills? I feel like like, in my head, he should have more.
Yeah.
Also,
did you get my Surf joke?
Yes, I did get your Surf joke. Also, thinking about it now, Raffi actually didn't get that kill the first round. He got the trade. I kept saying he got the kill. He traded himself out.
Yeah. But you know, now it's a 3v2 situation. Sure, Exo does have the cardiac sensor, but he doesn't have the nitro cell to supplement the intel that he's slowly gathering. As now PDHM are going for a little bit more of a horizontal pressure. They know that eventually they're going to have to go in through reception, which is where WAV is currently occupying. If he gets this kill onto Surf, then it's not necessarily the end of the round, considering Arrow is arguably the most important person still left alive on Honor's attack, considering he has the diffuser in his back pocket. But now the drone will confirm the location of WAV, make him feel pressure as he's just going to hide underneath, and a pulse shotgun didn't pan out. Oreo gets an absolute freebie, as now WAV's going to trade back a lot of damage and have all of his rotations cut, and Surf will just be prone in the middle of a hallway and get delivered another free kill. Honor take a round that they kind of had through and through off of some questionable plays on the first half of the round with a double spawn peak from reception. So yeah, and that's how that went down.
Unfortunate, especially because Rafi's peak up top probably could have won them the round if those earlier plays hadn't happened, because even when all the attacking team were still peeking main door, Pox was playing in that position up top. Rafi goes for that peek. If that still happens and the earlier gunfights don't, that'd probably be a PDHM round, just because of how immense that play from Rafi was and how risky it was as well. Thankfully, it managed to go in his favor. But overall, because of those previous mistakes, as you mentioned, the kills happening at main door, so much damage was done early on that even that great play from the Valkyrie, Rafi's been having a lot of really good plays so far this game. They're not able to pan out if the rest of your team isn't at least playing on the same level that you are when it comes to those. Going for the trade, great mental play. Getting the double kill the next round, maybe not the same, smarts as you had going for the trade, but it's still incredibly impactful for what your team is going for. But beyond those two events, PDHM on map number 2 and just the Sam on map number 1 don't appear to be all that into it in certain aspects. And it makes me sad, especially someone that predicted them to win.
I'm in the
Being
same
honest
boat.
with you.
I'm in the same boat.
Being honest with you, it doesn't... I know it's not personal, but it's starting to feel like it.
Yeah, it's feeling a little bit personal. So, at the end of the day, Honor has already secured at least a split. A 3-3 split, not looking too bad, as they still have the potential to go up 4-2 on the attacking side of Kafe, which will not be fun at all. If you're in the side of PDHM going onto the attack with Honor being more structured and feeling more confident, that's not a good combination. But as a Nitro Cell rips out, Oreo's robbed of half of his HP. I wish we got to catch that, but it was Rafi's Nitro Cell. He just doesn't care about his utility as much. He's just going for those hero plays. He wants to swing the momentum into his favor, into his team's favor early on, which sometimes it's worked, but so far, losing a Nitro Cell on a Malusi on a top floor defense where you do have the potential to just deny the execute in its entirety. With a Nitro Cell down below, if you're able to sneak back downstairs to the second floor after Honor are eventually able to clear out reading and go for their window executes again. So maybe a little bit ill-advised, but there's a reason that Rafi's playing and I'm not. He's got the beach swag. I don't. And hopefully he'll be able to answer back and let his MPX, or not, pardon me, the MP5 do a little bit more talking.
Well, reaching that point in the round where PDHM are going to have to start considering whether or not they want to rotate back. A Soma charge in the face of WAV is likely making that decision in the forefront of his mind. He might still be up top. Yes, he is, right next to that hatch. Hasn't rotated yet. He'll, in fact, go for a jump out. A lot of missed bullets. Still manages to land the shot onto Arrow, but he walks right into a Claymore, not even looking his direction. So, thankfully, he does the job of the attacking team, trades himself out. You can see his frustration in chat. Rafi also went for a play to try to cover the Jaeger rotating back, but since he walked into a Claymore, doesn't matter all that much. So now that you've had it traded out, you've lost Arrow, who could be impactful, but in terms of the operators and how Honor have been playing, that Sledge and that Ace are certainly more important. It's looking much better for them, especially with the time left. 35 seconds. They managed to get this soft destruction out. That's about the only piece of the puzzle still remaining. And then they're good from there, if they manage to cover that post plant.
Yeah, With the way it's setting up right now, though, Honor, it is still a 4v4, so it's evened up, but the Toxic Babe canisters cutting off the entrance to a reading room is a little bit alarming. Surf's gonna have to do something, really just kick open the door and open up his teammates, but Raffi on the backside with a wonderful flank is gonna line up when he's able to take out Surf. He's still hunting, but Pox on the inside is able to take out Subarctic, but a Nitro Cell will end the reign of Oreo as well as Pox. It's all up to Wolfseez in a 1v4, and he can't even get a single frag. PDHM, the Raffi flank, able to take it out and secures a split 3-3 half.
You know, one thing this is on me. I failed to take account of this, and clearly Honor failed to take account of it as well. Truly, how little time was left, compounded by the smoke, who still had all 3 of his smoke canisters left. Honor, with how they're set up and it being a raiding room attack, they're like, okay, we're gonna go reading room. We're gonna plant in default. That's how you attack this site. 80% of teams on any given day, that's how they're going to play it. But with 30 seconds left, and the smoke had all 3 of his smoke canisters still in his pocket, that's the exact amount of time you need to waste the time left and stop Honor from getting the plant down. And then at that point, what do PDHM have to do? Or what do they have the option to do? Swarm the attacking team, get in their face, and be aggressive. Something they have been striving to do this entire match, end up in hit or miss. And in a situation like that, where the pressure is on Honor, they know that time is dwindling low and going against them, as well as the utility being against them as well. Swarming over them is going to cause much more chaos, and Honor are going to make much more mistakes in those final seconds because of the pressure and the lack of room they have to counter against it. That was a perfect situation for PDHM, brought on by great time wasting and great utility usage and allocation by the anchors left in the bomb site. So for a final round of the defense, even at 3-3, good job, PDHM. Proud of you.
Yeah, Honor merely tried to adopt the chaos, but PDHM seems to be born into it and molded by it in a similar vein to Bane. So at the end of the day, if there's just hectic, chaotic executes, I am expecting PDHM to thrive in those situations a little bit more than Honor, who seem to require more of a semblance of control and understanding in order to feel more comfortable and really let their talents be put onto display in its full capacity. So with Honor now switching to the defense, they have a lot more control as to what's going to happen. They can regulate their engagements with strong use of utility to really slow PDHM down. That does require them to not be caught off guard, which did happen a few times on Coastline with PDHM's just kind of rush heavy, get into sight fast, get into Honor's face and make them feel uncomfortable. But on a map such as Kafe, where you've dry run your roam clear so much, you know pretty much the general idea of where anybody on the Honor defensive side could be sitting in, especially after you take first and second floor control, is gonna allow PDHM to really start to corral Honor and maybe try to take back some of that control and put the gunfights on their terms.
I mean, talking about dry running roam clears, I mean, Subarctic looked half asleep during that.
Oh yeah, he was.
He
was on autopilot.
No offense to him. Not saying he's playing badly, but he clearly knew where to check. He knew how far ahead that drone was going to be, what it was checking, what he might have to account for. And now with a minute 30 left, just moving past that halfway point, they have all the map control they need. They have up top, have all the vertical map control they need. Now it's just a question of transitioning that into a horizontal push. They've discovered that White Stairs, part of it has been left open, so they don't have to worry as much about prompted needing to use Selma charges to open up that wall. That does mean that they'll have to worry about Arrow playing behind this Goyo shield. If he manages to stay alive, that's risky for them. If that's something they don't opt to take care of, they'll just be able to shoot on downrange and take him out. And going into this final minute, if that's where PDHM... if that's where they hesitate and that's where they struggle, manage to clear it up top, but actually taking down in and around the site is their issue. It doesn't matter how quickly you got that map control. If you can't transition it into anything meaningful, it's like it never even happened in the first place.
Exactly. There's only 40 seconds left on the clock, and it's a 5v5. This isn't something that happened on PDHM's defense because they wanted to jump out of every single window. And Honor's just doing the complete opposite approach, and they are not giving PDHM a single opening. Actually, the opening is going to go onto the defensive side as Pop is going to just absolutely decimate Raffi, stop the flank watch, but most likely his air jabs were already allocated to the proper avenues. Now his prompt to just drop straight into the site. He's going to be trying to plant behind the box. actually rotate over and has to go into the window because of the toxic vape canister thrown out of the back pocket of Oreo. He's actually able to go all the way to the surface sink. More players just holding the top floor utility. All of those holes in, but he's planting inside the smoke, and Surf is able to sniff him out. A beautiful shot to deny the plant means that there's still a whole lot of players left alive on PDHM's side. But the clock was at 0. The clock struck midnight. And Honor, finding the only frag that mattered, will reclaim the lead.
That is important. Only 2 kills were required that round, I believe. They were both on the side of Honor, but one was earlier on, and then that second one was to kill the planter and then win Honor the round. They just played it safe. They allowed PDHM to get that map control they wanted. They knew the attacking team was going to try to get it as quickly as possible, and they put enough resistance to slow them down a bit, but not too much where their life might actually be at stake. They just rotated back, and they're like, okay, it's minute 30. Now they're getting out. Everyone get to your positions. We know how to play this. And that's exactly what happened. They waited for PDHM to start moving, try to put more resistance than earlier on positions like Arrow behind that Goyo shield and then on the site as well around right stairs. Continued applying that pressure, wasted just 30 seconds more time, and at that point, PDHM were in the exact same position that Honor were on the final round on their attack. Trying to get the plant down, not a lot of time, and a number of defenders waiting for you to enter the bomb site.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when you can control the engagements like I said Honor was going to try to, they just didn't give PDHM any openings and just sat back and waited. It was the exact counter where PDHM was almost doing CSGO style, playing for picks, waiting for anything Honor to give them that they could just latch onto. It was like a give an inch, we're going to take a mile kind of mindset. But Honor didn't even expose a single millimeter. I hate to switch up, metric and whatever we use. I don't know. You know what like our unit is? Imperial? It's Imperial. Ocho actually was spending me on something crazy.
New American Empire. I'm just kidding.
New American Empire. Inches and feet. But also, I'd like to say a big shout out to Ocho. He hasn't observed in a long time, but I think he's only missed like 2 kills the entire day, which is crazy. So, make that 3 as he utters that, yes, he just missed a kill. As Surf is going to open up the fragging with the UMP of all guns. Even though he was the one on the Ash, he's still wanting to be an FBI operative, switching over to Mr. Wave Check himself, and still getting the opening frag.
That's pretty funny. The timing on that was impeccable.
It was.
Only missing 3 kills, not the worst thing on the planet. It's a nice stat line to have, and Subarctic, probably glad that you missed that one. Your Ash being taken down in the first minute of the game. Not the best showing so far. PDHM taking the map control quickly once again down below, so it's not as impactful, not as much you can do with it as you could on, say, a kitchen defense or a kitchen attack, but they're doing the most with the situation they have right now. Not a cocktail take like Honor are bringing out. It's a much more standard west to east side clear. This time, the sticking point seems to be WAV down below, holding flank, seeing if anybody goes for a rotate or a C4 down below. Meanwhile, the attackers up top being prompted, and Rafi, at least for the moment, will try to acquire that map control from red stairs, push in through Pixel, and apply some pressure on this east side of the map, or on this west side of the map. Cardinal directions are not my strong suit.
Yeah, they're hard. Never eat soggy waffles, and we also have a compass in the bottom side, but he was actually
can't read,
looking
so it
at
doesn't
that.
matter.
Yeah, I'm also illiterate. But I can read that there's 50 seconds left on the clock, and it's a 5v4 in favor of Honor's defense. It's seeming to be a very similar situation as what we saw just a couple of minutes ago last round, where PDHM do not have a single opening, and they are struggling to get any pressure in towards site off of Honor's very just turtle-heavy play on site, don't roam, wait till PDHM run into your crosshair style of defense. There's only 30 seconds left, and they're going to be flashing top white. That's where their attempted push is going to be going through. But Pox taking out Prompted is pretty good when it's a flare of frags back and forth, one of them being a frag grenade out of Exo's hand onto Oreo, but answered back with Wolfsies onto Rafi, now WAV onto Wolfsies. It's a 2v3 situation with only 15 seconds left, and make that a 3v1 is all up to WAV on his lonesome, and he's falling into a crossfire of all crossfires as the 81 is going to sing the deadly song. The Alda just going off. Pox pre-firing away every single angle, being able to pick up 3 in the final embers of that round. Now pushing Honor's lead even further beyond to a 5-3 scoreline.
The way PDHM handled that wasn't the most ideal situation, sending 3 men up white stairs with 5 members in the defense still alive. Not the best situation. They made the best of it, sent 2 flashes up. You sent a frag grenade from EXO soon after. Got a kill, but at the end of the day, you're still pushing 3 men up white stairs with 5 defenders still alive at the beginning of that engagement. So even if you get one, and WAV ended up getting the second one as well, which I honestly did not anticipate. I thought he was going to get smoked by the other defenders, but he managed to find it. Even then, just not a lot you can do. The odds are not in your favor, and you have very little map control, and the defenders know exactly, or at least, for the most part, where you are, what area of the map you are in. So I don't really know what happened there. Gonna be honest, I was like, is PDHM going, they're gonna push Pixel? Okay, no, they're going downstairs.
I don't think they knew.
They're pushing white. Okay, now they're sending 3 men up white. So I would like to analyze further, but I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm not quite sure. Now they're going to reading. Should be a bit better.
Ooh,
We can actually. What do you think? What do you think
I have
happened?
a narrative on that round.
You have a narrative? Good.
Ash died early. They couldn't break down the castle strat that was in Pixel.
Oh,
So then
that's true. They were. I forgot about the castle. I was so focused and trying. I'm like, what is WAV doing down here? I forgot about the castle. That's a good point. If they lack the Ash,
That's why they pay me the big bucks to analyze, right? All $0.
Yeah,
and 0 cents I'm getting.
They had Exo on the sledge, but if they're worried about getting close, it might not exactly be the easiest thing on the planet. So I don't know. Might be something to that. You might be onto something.
I might be onto something. I sniffed out the attempted strat. How did his drone not get destroyed by the Aruni gate?
That's fine. They need it.
Yeah, they do need
So
the
that
drones. Yeah, we're gonna pretend that one happened. Maybe does the sledgehammer destroy it? Like with the debris going through?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
That's a good question.
Wav's trying to go on the entry. He is right next to somebody who's playing Shaiko, right on the other side of the new bout drop, but I think he went ahead and fell off inside of pillars. Yep, that's Wolf sees the Rooney playing down below now, rejoining his teammate Oreo. Both of them do have some good utility with all the Aruni gates in the now. One of them going down because the hatch just opened up, but there's still a nitro cell down below. But it doesn't seem like PDHM are going to be employing that much vertical pressure, considering they already have their sights set over towards mining. It might be a sort of SSG style attack where you don't necessarily need to take full control. You just take and cut off rotations inside of piano and then go for a mining execute if you can get that going your way. And considering that halfway done with the round and the hatch being reinforced, they might have to extend a little bit further beyond.
Whatever extension, they'll extend some more sovereignty over PDHM's man count. Exo falling, 2 and 6 so far. Arrow coming up for a second, or there might be Surf actually on the Wamai. Either way, it's a kill, 2 kills in his favor. He'll get refragged by Prompted on a brazen play up white stairs. The Wamai manages to find some of the most impactful kills of this round. The Nomad at the Kafe Tower still alive. They have some great utility there. Prompted will find one. He's got a double so far. But Raffi not looking as hot as his teammate. He's taken 50 damage. Knows Arrow's in that corner, but he takes even more on 1 HP. We'll try to retake the engagement, but there's not much he can do in this situation. He's got the diffuser. He could drop it or give it to Prompted or take the diffuser himself and rotate down as they'll hear an air jab go off. Prompted will try to make a solo play, but they know he's right there, pushing the close angle with a shotgun. He lands the head. I don't know how he did that, but that might just be what he needs to try and clutch this out and go for the ace 1v2. One's rotated down white. He'll send out the flame arrow. Won't be able to rotate back. He has to pick up diffuser and go for the plant in the final 15 seconds. It was a smart play, sealing off Arrow from that angle, but now when he starts retaking, the time is lower. Sends out the second onto white. Arrow will have to rotate on through, and he just manages to do so. Wolf sees going for the pinch. Arrow peeking through laundry. Prompted, it's 000, will land it, but unfortunately it's not meant to be. Wolf sees lands the pre-fire on his body. And Honor go to match point. Could have been a nice 1v2. I honestly thought Prompted had it in the cards with how he was using those flame arrows. But Arrow just running on through. Didn't matter in the end.
Yeah, I think it all came down to that round perfectly personified the just fundamental difference in these teams, where for Honor's side, taking that 2v1 in just playing so passive to the point that you are going to let him plant so you can play your retake together and swing on 1, 2, 3 swing is just a fundamental difference. It was an attempted just individual play, just so close on the clutch potential for the Capital, but like you said, it just wasn't in the heart of the cards. It was so close he could almost taste it, but Honor was just too cautious. They are not making mistakes. They are not giving PDHM any openings at all. They're playing so smart that you can't punish them, and you can kind of only sing their praises because everything they're doing is correct.
Yeah, they've won every bomb site so far, I do believe. Yep. Perfect cycle on the defense. I go back to Kitchen. Site they won the very first round. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up winning it out, just based off how strong they have looked on their defenses so far.
This was the interesting round,
yeah,
too,
this
where only
was
2 people died.
This was the rotated down, wasted about 1:30 on the roam. PDHM got all the map control they needed, still had the ace to open up the hatch, and still had Exo to open up the floor. But they didn't manage to clear out any of the actual defenders around the bomb site. You still had Arrow and VIP and the defenders waiting to watch them vault in the bottom of White Stairs into Freezer itself. And then the attack just collapsed in there because of that lack of time and because of the man advantage that Honor still held going into the plant that PDHM tried to attempt. So going forward, I mean, transition that map control to something better. That's obviously, you know, very forehead logic, simple solution. But in all seriousness, trying to pinch out players like Arrow from their positions, that's going to be where you need to start making those adjustments if PDHM want to try to claw back 3 rounds in a row.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to massively overhaul how they're taking their attacks, because with the way Honor is just playing so reserved, PDHM need to either ramp up their aggression or just be a lot more organized and swing together. At the end of the day, their last execute on Kitchen wasn't bad, but they didn't drop as a team. They just sent a single person to go try to smoke plant, and then he died, and the round was over, with 3 people still left alive holding vertical control. That doesn't matter because the diffuser never went down. The idea was right to try to set yourself up for that post plant, and it essentially would have been an unwinnable position for Honor to try to retake with 3 people upstairs. But it's just not a good spot to be in. But there's going to be a flurry of kills back and forth. Pac's able to take out Raffi, avenging his fallen teammate. But on the other side, there's another refrag coming out of Prompted that will put Pac straight down to cam duty as well. But PDHM having the man count advantage going towards their execute. This is a completely different tune to what we saw last time, and hopefully they can convert this properly.
Got a bit nervous when Raffi started getting shot, and there was a bit of a delayed reaction.
Yeah,
now WAV going down. Spots Arrow right on the rotate. This is looking like a much, much stronger attacking round overall, but specifically on Kitchen as well. Frag Grenade won't be as strong as the other kills acquired by his team, but it puts Oreo down to 50 HP. Something to write home about, at least for the moment. But Wolfsy's going on a flick, manages to spot WAV through the wall on a pre-fire. Oreo finds the kill on a Prompted as well, and we've managed to even it to a 2v2. Now a 1v2, unfortunately. Subarctic finds Oreo hopping up onto the counter. And here's the plant going down. He has a C4 in his pocket. He could try to send it over, but it might be a bit risky. Will it get shot? Yes, it does. Mid-air. Skeet shot by Exo. With the plant down, he has to catch one on the rotate, but Exo catches him first. A bullet to the head is much quicker than anything Wolfsy's had the chance of going for. In PDHM, they start a potential comeback. It's 6-4 now. Nice shot as well. Still have 2 more to go. And so far, even 1 round loss is not enough to convince me that Honor don't have a say in this.
Yeah, that was really close, and I thought Wolfsy's was going to win that with that Nitro cell, but Exo was just playing chess while Wolfsy's was playing checkers, I guess, just completely outclassed to properly read into the over the whiskey bar Nitro toss, just pre-holding that and knowing that that is the only way his teammate can die, and then properly reading into his rotate over towards reception. A quick little pre-fire, a little shoulder lean. Nice shot indeed. Will take a round into the side of PDHM. Their first play, or first round win of the attacking half. It couldn't have come at a better time, considering if they lost, it'd be over. Now, we're still telling them that there's a chance, but they're going to have to definitely climb up the hill, really dig themselves out of the hole that they dug themselves into, which in a similar vein to what we saw on Coastline did happen, where they were able to get it to 6-5, but not quite able to close it out in the dying embers of the game, where Honor were just able to finish it out without the need for overtime. This might be slightly different. You know, we could see maybe PDHM have enough adjustments in their bag of tricks. Maybe they now properly have read into how Honor's going to set up a really heavy piano-centric, really southwestern side hold of the top floor. Maybe they're going to actually send the utility over here. Maybe they're going to make sure Subarctic doesn't die within 30 seconds of the round and you lose those 3 ash charges as well as breaching charges. That would be good from a utility standpoint. That would allow them to dismantle all of the utility sponge that's being allocated over towards Pixel and Piano. Or maybe they're just going to funnel up White again and all die to the Alda Pox.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I mean, we've seen crazier things at this point. And again, we've also seen the Maestro. Maestro's gotten a fair bit of kills, but in terms of utility, he hasn't seemed to be, the flashiest of players, or I guess, in terms of the Maestro, the operator itself. But Pox has been doing extremely well. Surf also doing well for himself. Now, pretty much the exact same stat line as Pox with that clean headshot on the WAV inside of Cocktail, or inside of Christmas. You've lost your Zofia, one of the operators that is extremely difficult, or the loss of which is extremely difficult to deal with. And there's a Mute Jammer, and there are still plenty of options to deal with these castle barricades. You have the Ash, and you have the Sledge. But still, losing that Zofia and WAV as well, who has been the standout performer for PDHM so far in this match, it's not a good look for the team that's already struggled once the man advantage doesn't go in their favor.
Yeah, with the way that Honor have just not been giving PDHM very many openings, PDHM has really had to work for all of their picks. And right now, they've definitely had to pay the price for piano control with the blood of WAV, who is their top frag so far. It's going to be up to Subarctic to really carry on the torch of the other soft breach ranged kind of entry operator being the Ash, but it's actually Exo taking a whole lot of damage. He's going to go down to Pox. That Alda, once again, going into full effect, just pre-firing away every corner. So he is just prone in the middle of bar. Just prone in the middle of bar. But now Oreo's actually going to be the one to fall, as Prompted will separate his head from his shoulders. That's your Mute going down. That was your bathroom player, making sure that Whitehall was not completely free, but Wolfsies will reclaim that with a quick shot coming out of the MPX and drop Diffuser straight onto the ground. 45 seconds remaining.
Pox is still prone. That's it. Moving on. Subarctic's also taking a bit of damage, and it's a trade going the way of, well, neither, because it's a trade. Rappy's stuck in a 1v3. He has Diffuser, but he's just below the bomb site, which is firmly and staunchly in the hands of the defense. He'll try to make a similar push to a couple rounds prior. Up White stairs, the barbed wire will give away his position. They'll see the head of the castle, but the shots are not able to be landed. Now, just the longer the defense waits, the more advantageous it'll be. He gets one, but not enough to win the game for his team. And what do you know? It was only Keg and Jays Wills who predicted it, but Honor will come away with the series 2-0. And more importantly, Aristotle.HNR will be choosing Exo's new profile pic on Twitter. But I guess also, PDHM don't get any points for this matchup. I guess that's important too.
They're the first team that have not gotten any points. You know, we had 5-1 splits instead of 6-0s, with at least one of the games going into overtime, but this match was just Honor through and through. 7-5 on Coastline, 7-4 on Kafe. They were in the driver's seat the entire time, and they never took their foot off of the gas. They went for the throat, they went for the kill, and they take both maps in a pretty comfortable fashion considering how close the scoreline looked. They were never phased. But unfortunately, like you did say, rip Exo's profile picture. I'm definitely looking forward to what Arrow has in his back pocket, what he has cooked up inside his little deviant mind that he's going to unleash on the timeline later today. Definitely have to have my eyes glued to my favorite bird app on my phone. But yeah, the map is over, match is over, series is over, and it definitely did not disappoint. A barn burner for the ages. That was definitely a lot of fun and had some great moments like you're seeing in our replays.
WAV's 2 exit frags, while flashy, unfortunately not the most impactful, and that was kind of the story of PDHM a lot of that time. They had a lot of flashy plays, sometimes where it mattered most, being example, Rafi in those first couple rounds, landing the trade and the double kill that ended up winning 2 of PDHM's 4-round victories. That kill as well, another great moment, though it didn't end up in a round win. But aside from those flashy moments, a lot of the times there was attempt at a play, but nothing that really was all that impactful or nothing that was really worthwhile going for it. They would go for those style of plays and then get quickly punished by Honor and then do similar plays again and be swiftly dealt with. You had players like Prompted start showing up. Sure, not as well as players like WAB, but on the roles he was playing, you know, Ace, Capitao, Smoke on the defense, he had his moments, much more so than he did on Coastline. But at the end of the day, PDHM as a team, as a coordinated 5-man roster, didn't look like it that much today. A lot of it was just going for what was left in their hands, losing opening duels, being a bit lackluster on the trades. And overall, I think it's a bit disappointing from a team. We expected a lot more for it. Then again, you know, we love SCS, but they're also playing in CL. That is a factor to be considered, whether or not they want to start giving away strats, even, you know, however long in advance. But I don't know. For at least personally, one of this being the first performances and outings I've seen from PDHM so far, I don't know. I expected a bit more.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to harp on him too much because out of all the teams to lose to, Honor's playstyle
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Honor being so structured and still strong in their gunplay to challenge the high aggression that PDHM was going for. It was like Superman meeting Kryptonite, and that was Pox. Pox was Superman, and he also had Kryptonite in his hand, and he was shoving it just in the face of all the PDHM players. A 1.47 rating on map 1 and a 1.54 rating on map 2. An absolutely amazing showing from the man on support roles, playing the Maestro, playing the Ace, playing just the operators that you don't expect to be heavily fragging. 81 cost on Kafe, and I think he had a 74% cost on Coastline. Just
Something
absolutely great showing from him today.
Yeah, I mean, definitely one of the more active, on Twitter, at least for me, and one of the more active members on Twitter for Honor. So good that one of your faces of the team is doing well. Always nice to see. But as you said, on operators like Ace, like Maestro, not exactly the frontline members of an attacking lineup or attacking or defending lineup for that matter. It's good. But then you had Surf, who that castle op aside. On Ash, he's going to be the main one in your face. Him also 12-6, just his cost a bit lower. 2-1 on the entry as well. He had a pretty solid showing for his roles overall, and I think that just goes to show, once again, Honor, for the roles people were playing, if the entries were either shooting well or if they weren't shooting well, you had people like Pox who were able to pick up the pieces. And we do have an interview with the winning team. It will be Pox from Honor to talk about, walk us through what happened and how exactly they ended up winning that round. So, Pox, how are you feeling? How are you feeling after that win?
Pretty good, guys. Yeah, we wanted to beat them, of course.
I imagine. Well, first question, how do you do it? 1.47 rating the first map, and I think 1.54 the second. How do you do it? How does Pox do it?
Well, Lynx, the secret, really, man. It's just playing ranked all day. I don't know. No,
yeah,
it's just one of those days,
imagine,
I guess.
Just minding the trenches.
Yeah, I played ranked all day today, and it was just a good day for me, I think. So honestly, it's whatever. Yeah, team played great. Like everybody was playing really well, so that of course helps.
I mean, obviously, but pretty much everyone on Honor was shooting straight today. Going to map 1 of Coastline, a lot of it, I'm just going to start with the second half because PDHM rushed 3 times in a row. How do you dissect that one? I mean, Coastline, a lot of it is chaotic. That's true. But PDHM seemed to be kind of bringing a new definition to that. I mean, what was going on, at least from your perspective?
Well, I think the biggest thing was they noticed that we didn't just have the service holes on kitchen. So they just said, hey, they don't have holes, just run in, and it worked the first time for sure. But the second time, it's just, I honestly, I feel like personally pushing like that is complete hit or miss. So it just comes down to 50-50 and everybody's just shooting back and forth at each other. Of course you have a bit of an advantage being the attackers, having better guns and stuff, but it really just comes into like a Call of Duty match at that point, almost at that point. So yeah, it was pretty good though. It was fun. Made it a lot more exciting for sure than the typical game.
It was fun to cast. I could certainly confirm that. Sometimes a bit questionable stuff happened, but overall it was a good time. Connor, you got any thoughts on Coastline or anything you want to ask?
Yeah, I think I just had the one play in my mind. You already touched on it briefly. It was one of the service plants where they went through. What was your exact play where you were playing the pulse, I believe, and you just kind of, you didn't even use the cardiac sensor. You just had the sixth sense in your brain that, they're going to be around this corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The call it was the rest of them were down, so I just went out to get the frag, and he was reviving. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'll pick up both. That's cool. Yeah, I was just after we thought it was a 3v1, I think at the time with two of them down. So I killed one, and I was like, okay, the other two are down. So I ran out, and he was reviving, and then it just happened to work out. So luckily he went for the revive. So yeah, that was pretty much just luck.
Well, sometimes luck is what wins it out. But going on to map 2, it was kind of a similar Call of Duty style of play coming out from PDHM. So, I mean, overall, you come away from this 2-0, first game of the season. You got to be feeling good. How do you feel about things going forward, whether for this or CL in the future? How do you feel with this new roster?
Pretty good, yeah. I mean, PDHM is definitely a really good team. They got a lot of really good players on there with really good mechanics too. So it feels really good to beat those guys specifically. And of course, we all want EXO to change his profile picture. I'm just happy that Arrow gets to keep.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Don't worry.
We need to look back in the yeah, we had a beautiful graphic for that one.
Yeah, PDHM is, in my opinion, one of the stronger teams. So I'm really happy we beat them.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone that disagrees with that. Might not have had the best showing today, but definitely going to be a team to keep the around going forward. So, personally, I don't have any questions. That game was fairly, open and shut in some aspects coming out from Honor. Connor, you got anything? And we'll get to the profile pic in a second. Don't worry.
Yeah, we can get to the profile picture in a second. But, just anybody you want to thank, like orgs, your teammates, just any shout-outs, socials, balls in your court.
Oh, definitely just my teammates and the management. Like, they are such a huge factor. Like, my teammates are crazy. My teammates are insane. So shout out to those guys. And then of course all the fans, all the people hyping us up in the chat. You guys matter too. Thank you for your support. And that's pretty much it.
All right, well, again, before you go, congratulations on the win. Can you give us a sneak peek or some hint at what Exo's new profile pic is going to be? Are you under NDA to give that kind of information? I know it's like leaking state
honestly.
Secrets, but
I don't know. I'm not sure, Lynx, but yeah, if I knew, I would definitely want to help out.
All right, well, as you can see, we got the graphic up on the screen. Since Honor did win, Arrow is choosing it. Pro will not have a say in it. Exo, he lost out, so did his team, so he doesn't get to choose Arrow's profile pic. But either way, we'll get to see what happens, I'm sure, at some point on the TL tonight, maybe tomorrow. But thank you, Pox, for joining in for the interview. First time, that I get to talk to you. So good meeting you. Seem like a good guy, and good luck going forward in SCS.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you guys, too.
All right. And Connor?
Well,
that's it. Well, it's not
done.
Well, we're not done. We're not
more.
done yet. We still actually have stats. I just kind of
That's a fun. That's a joke. That's a CDAPS and Carter domer. But look at the overall stats. We said the Pox did pretty well, but that's an understatement. Overall, 78% cost, 1.5 rating. To put that in perspective, with the way that the math works out, the average rating is around a 1. So if you're having a pretty good game, like you have an average game that you can't complain about, like Arrow, when you're 14 and 13, you have a 60% cost. That's a good game. But Pox was 1.5 arrows. That's crazy.
Yeah. Pox is certainly playing extremely well today. But then on the side of PDHM, Pox brought up a really good point. We have a lot of mechanically gifted and talented players on the side of PDHM. Going beyond mechanics, a lot of just talented players in a holistic sense in terms of game sense, how they play the game, things like that. Today from PDHM, it wasn't a great showing. I think even PDHM would agree to that. But we all know there's more potential for this team. This is by no way, shape, or form. Those stat lines do not define who they are or their potential. And it's the first game of the season. Could just be shakes. Could just be holding stuff back. Who knows? WAV, Subarctic, and Rafi, they can go home knowing that they had a fairly solid game. But Exo Prompted, now they have something to prove going forward. And that can be, that can be a fire in people sometimes for playing future matches, proving to people that, they're not their ratings. They can improve. And for PDHM, I imagine we'll see something like that probably within the next next match, if not the match after that one. But either way, it's not the last game of tonight. It does not end all with honor in PDHM. We have a second match after this. It is Down to Earth versus No Plants, the team that used to be known as T3 Savants, now under a new name. That'll be Keg and Blue Panda will be casting that one. And Connor, unless you got anything else to say, might just go ahead and wrap this up here.
Yeah, I think we're all good to go. Thank you so much for tuning in, but like Carter said, there's another game. We should be back in about 10-ish minutes so we get everything ironed out and set up for the next one. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.